Chapter 57:12. Lin Xian stared at the two people in front of him. These two were experts from the chosen immortal clan. They came from the depths of the deity ground. However, at this moment, under Lin Xian's gaze, they both trembled. Damn it! The two of them shouted angrily. At this moment, the Hellfire Dragon attacked, and so did Yen Ryu. The Hellfire Dragon was the Seven-Crown King. He was extremely terrifying. Yen Ryu might be the Six-Crown King, but he was the descendant of the great emperor. He also had the inheritance of the Seven-Crown King. Not long after, the two of them were killed. The people around felt their scalps go numb. Someone shouted angrily, "What right do you have to be so arrogant? Do you really want to be enemies with the world?" Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. "Why would I kill them? Don't you know? Aren't all of you discussing when you're going to steal my treasures? Do you really think I don't know, or do you think I can't hear you? I have the power of reincarnation. If you're too close to me, I'll be able to hear your voice transmissions." What? Hearing this, the people around felt their scalps go numb. Was his soul already this strong? Damn it! They all retreated in fear. Lin Xian stood up and laughed. "So what if I'm enemies with the world? When I was in the universe, it's not like I didn't make enemies with the world. However, what can they do to me?" The people from the chosen immortal clan were shocked. The people from the emperor race were also silent. Lin Xian was too arrogant. He was extremely arrogant. However, no one could stop him. Even the Eight-Crown King lost. The other party's aura was extremely strong. At this moment, the people from the Divine Union also looked around. They formed a force so strong that no one dared to get close. Everyone lowered their heads in the face of this power. "Humph!" Lin Xian snorted. "So what if it's the deity ground? So what if it's the other side?" No one could stop him. At this moment, Lin Xian had a new realization. He decided to open his own path. In the end, I will walk on a heaven-defying path. Let's call it the heaven-defying art. Lin Xian's eyes flickered with a cold light. This would be the name he would pass down after he became a great emperor. On the other side, in the passageway between the second and third halls, Zifu and the others were stunned. Every single one of them had wounds on their faces. Yulan gritted her teeth and took out a large number of pills from her storage ring and swallowed them. Abominable. This is too abominable. This time he was actually defeated by a quintuple crown king. This was something he could not accept. Revenge. He had to get revenge. He had to make the other party suffer a fate worse than death. Later, when we kill our way back, use your extreme Dao weapon to defend and prevent him from using the heaven-swallowing jar to launch a sneak attack, Yulan said to Zirua. Zirua, however, frowned. She said, "If we compare extreme weapons, we can't beat him. His companions also have two extreme weapons." After Yulan heard this, she frowned. How could there be such a heaven-defying existence in the outside universe? "Senior, I have an idea." However, Zirua spoke up. Yulan said, "What do you think?" Zirua said, "In the second hall, there's a saber called the Soul-Severing Saber. Senior, is there any way to borrow the power of an extreme Dao weapon to control this soul-severing saber? This soul-severing saber is very powerful and can sever a person's soul. Even if that kid has the Rinnegan and can summon the reincarnation sword, so what? I think it's not as powerful as the soul-severing saber. After all, he is only a quintuple crown king." "Good idea." Yulan's eyes lit up. Indeed, the other party was only a quintuple crown king. If he was an 8-crown king, he might be able to use the reincarnation sword and instantly kill her. However, the other party was 3 realms lower than her. This gave her a chance. Although the reincarnation sword could injure her, it was not enough to completely kill her. If she had the soul-severing saber, she could definitely kill the other party. "All right, let's do it. Let's go to the second hall and seize the soul-severing saber." Yulan was confident. Although she did not have an extreme Dao weapon, she had many secret techniques. These were all immortal techniques from Permitha. They were incomparably mysterious. With her immortal techniques and the power of the dragon pattern cauldron in Rua's hands, it was not impossible. Many people were still entering the second hall. Their faces were filled with fear. The soul-severing saber was too powerful. Half of them had been killed by the soul-severing saber and had arrived later than the rest of the group. However, there were also a few experts among them. One of them was a woman surrounded by great Tao. She was extremely terrifying. She was Zhong Lingxiu with the born Taoism aptitude. Another person was so fast that no one could beat him. He was Chao Tiansheng, a member of the Light tribe. There was also a very strange person. He had the head of a dog and protruded fangs. It was as if he could swallow everything. He was the dog-headed Taoist. These 3 people knew Lin Xian and had fought with him before. The 3 of them were very powerful. He had not heard of them before. He did not expect them to enter the deity ground. They had even come to the tomb of the great emperor. Although the soul-severing saber was dangerous, the 3 of them could dodge it with their own methods. It seemed that hiding was not a solution. They had to think of a way to break the formation. Chao Tianxing's eyes shone with a sharp light. Zhong Lingxiu and the dog-headed Taoist's eyes were also shining. The 3 of them were ready to join forces. However, at this moment, the formation suddenly shattered. A team charged in from the outside. Who was it? So terrifying. The dog-headed Taoist was shocked. Even Lord Dog was not so arrogant. Did someone come back? Zhong Lingxiu frowned. The great Tao around her spread even more. She said, "The power of an extreme weapon. Is it the great emperor's family?" Chao Tianxing's speed was even faster. He rushed out in an instant. No matter who it was, an extreme weapon was enough to threaten him. Therefore, he dodged in an instant. "How fast?" Yulan exclaimed. This time, they had broken the formation from the outside and charged in. However, she seemed to have sensed someone flying over. Even with her strength as the 8-crown king, she could not see clearly. This person's speed was terrifying. However, she did not observe carefully. Her main goal now was to take the soul-severing saber. In the next moment, Yulan arrived at the second hall. Countless people were deeply shocked. What a terrifying power! The dog-headed Taoist gasped. 8-crown king. Damn it! How could there be such a terrifying person? So it was someone from the Purple Mansion. Zhong Lingxiu sighed. In the next moment, the great Tao on her body intertwined. She pierced through the void and left quickly. The dog-headed Taoist also ran away. He transformed into a big dog and was very fast. Rua shouted angrily. She wanted to attack again, but she realized that the 2 guys were running very fast. She snorted. However, the others were not so lucky. Seal. A beam of light appeared in her hand. Countless orchids flew out and grew on the heads of these people. These people were all controlled. Their faces were all twisted. Chapter 57:13. The people following her felt their scalps go numb. They didn't think much of the 8-crown king's defeat. Now that they saw Yulan's methods again, they were terrified. Her opponent was defeated because of the extreme weapon and the dragon sword soul. However, compared to the other boundary emperors, she was still a supreme existence. Didn't you see how she controlled hundreds of boundary emperors? Who could compare with such methods? After Yulan controlled those experts, she said to Xilan. He then said to Rua, "Let's begin. You activate the extreme grade weapon, and I will use these people as puppets. Draw out the soul cutter. Next, I'll use an immortal technique. The 2 of us will work together to control the soul cutter." Xilan walked out and took a deep breath. They started to move. On Lin Xian's side, after he recovered his strength, he went on his way again. The front was pitch black. However, he still walked over resolutely. Since he wanted to go against the heavens, he wasn't afraid of anything. The people of the Divine Union followed the other great emperor clans and chosen immortal tribe. They were nervous. They didn't know what was waiting for them ahead. Lin Xian was still fine. He looked serious. On the other hand, Qing Qing and Rui were injured. Their delicate faces were covered in dust. On the Crimson Dragon's side, there were a few cracks on the array. Obviously, the previous battle had put them under a lot of pressure. There was a huge crack in front of them. It looked like an abyss that had been split in half by a sword. An extremely terrifying death aura was emitted from there. Even the Hellfire Dragon frowned. He said, "Kid, I have a bad feeling. It seems like some kind of power is emerging." Hearing the Hellfire Dragon's words, the surrounding people were nervous. Boom! 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 At this moment, 24 black coffins flew out from the crack in front of them. Then they formed an array in the air and enveloped everyone. There were black coffins in all directions, in the sky and on the ground. With a crack, the black coffins opened. A monstrous death aura filled the air. One figure after another walked out from the crowd. 24 figures. Some had long swords on their backs, some had chains in their hands, and some had giant blades on their backs. These people were tall, short, fat, thin, young, old, and beautiful. Furthermore, the flesh on these people's bodies were all rotten and emitted a corrosive smell. It made people frown deeply. Their Taoist robes were also in tatters. These were dead people, but they had been summoned by someone. Not good. These people seemed to be 7 crown kings. 24 7-crown champions. That was an extremely powerful force. Furthermore, these people could be controlled by others. This meant that they were all extremely terrifying existences among 7 crown kings. Ancestor. Kaiser Blood exclaimed in shock, his body trembling. Lin Xian frowned. What's going on? Kaiser Blood said, "The one with the blood-colored saber is our chosen immortal clan's ancestor. When I was a teenager, I had heard of him." The blood race members were all stunned. This was their ancestor's ancestor. How frightening was this? After the blood clan, a few other misters also shouted out, "Ancestor! Ancestor! The patriarch of that year." These people were all crazy. Damn it! Was this the Soul Emperor's method? This was too hateful. Even our ancestor was dead, he didn't let it go. Someone shouted angrily. However, a bolt of lightning struck down from the sky, directly killing that person's soul. Everyone's scalp went numb. Some people paled. Idiot, cursing the Soul Emperor in front of the Soul Emperor's tomb. Did he want to die? The others hurriedly shook their heads. To be disrespectful to the Soul Emperor here was courting death. Everyone was shocked, as if they were facing a great enemy. However, Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. His Rinnegan bloomed with a mysterious light. He felt a familiar aura. It was related to the 6 paths of reincarnation. Lin Xian looked around, but the surroundings were pitch black. His soul was still suppressed here. Moreover, the suppression was even more terrifying. He felt that the people around him were suppressed by 70%. Lin Xian should be suppressed by 50% of his soul. It was too terrifying. Everyone's faces became incomparably pale. They could only defend. Older brother Xian, this place is so terrifying. Even though we were tempered by the soul-splitting saber before, even though we had been suppressed by the Soul Emperor, it seemed that there was more than 60% suppression. It was almost 70%. Lin Xian frowned. Could it be that it had something to do with the 6 paths of reincarnation? He had indeed sensed a familiar aura. He only had 1 Rinnegan. He could use the Heavenly Tao, Earth Tao, and Human Tao. In addition, there were 3 other paths in the 6 paths. They were the Azura Path, the Hungry Ghost Path, and the Hell Path. They represented different powers. If it was the power to control corpses, then it should be the Hell Path. Could it be that this place had the power of the Hell Path in the 6 paths of reincarnation? Lin Xian was extremely excited. This power was also incomparably mysterious. He was just curious. He didn't know where the other Rinnegan was. Was there anyone who could condense it? Boom! At this time, The ancient powerhouses who walked out of the coffins in front began to move. Among them, a woman took out a bow and arrow in her hand. It was a big black bow. It was incomparably heavy. As soon as it appeared, it shook the void. Then, the power in her body condensed into sword chi. With a stab, tens of thousands of arrows shot out. Like a rain of arrows, they fell down. Not good, quickly block. Everyone's soul was suppressed, so they quickly blocked. Some people used immortal spells, while others used divine abilities. Terrifying phantoms, physiques, and shields began to block these. For a moment, countless flames filled the air, extremely dazzling. Boom! Ah! Not long after, someone screamed. On the black demon race's side, many people were instantly pierced. Their bodies turned into corpse water. Damn it! What a strong corrosive power! On the black demon race's side, someone condensed and formed a huge black demon shield. It stood indomitable like a huge mountain, but it was instantly melted. Dozens of figures behind shattered. Damn it, it was too scary. Boom! At this time, a man with a long saber on his back walked out. The blood-colored long saber was displayed like a blood dragon, bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws, killing a portion of people. Next, 24 powerhouses attacked one after another. In the end, an overwhelming power covered the sky and earth. It enveloped everyone. Quick, break out of the encirclement. They could either retreat or kill their way forward. No one dared to delay. They identified a direction and quickly broke out. A great battle broke out in an instant. On Lin Xian's side, countless green lotuses bloomed. Yanruyu used an extreme defense. At the same time, she asked, Lin Xian, what are you going to do? Everyone looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, I feel the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation here. Perhaps one of them is here. I'm going to take a look. The 6 paths of reincarnation? Murong Qingqing and the others were also shocked after hearing this. Such a mysterious power was actually here. Could it be that the Soul Emperor had once controlled the 6 paths of reincarnation? No one knew. The Hellfire Dragon also narrowed its eyes. I heard that the 6 paths of reincarnation had several masters. Chapter 57:14. Lin Xian frowned when he heard that. At this moment, DeLong also spoke. He said, the Samsara sword has indeed had several masters. The last one was the Samsara master. However, after him, the Samsara sword has been broken. The power of the Samsara sword has also been scattered throughout the universe. Lin Xian was surprised. He asked, where is the Samsara master? Is he dead? DeLong sighed. He turned into the Samsara master to protect everyone. When the time is right, he will return. Lin Xian did not understand. DeLong did not explain further. However, he had his own conjecture. The Samsara sword had been broken. The Samsara master had turned into the Samsara sword, causing the power of the Samsara sword to be scattered. For example, there was a sect called the 6 Tao sect on Burial Earth that had the Samsara body. Thinking about it, the founder of the 6 paths of reincarnation must have obtained a trace of the power of reincarnation. The Rinnegan might have been transformed by the power of the Samsara sword. Of course, that was not all. Therefore, the Rinnegan should be able to summon the Samsara sword. As if seeing Lin Xian's conjecture, DeLong added, when the Samsara master turned into the Samsara sword, he took away most of the power of the Samsara sword. The remaining Samsara sword formed the lesser 6 Tao sect. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. What kind of battle had happened back then? Even the Samsara sword had been broken. Even the Samsara master seemed to have fallen and turned into the Samsara sword. Was there really such a terrifying existence in the depths of the Permitha? He asked DeLong. DeLong said, the Permitha is terrifying. The power they have is too frightening. Even the power of the 6 Tao sect was estimated to be partly controlled by the Permitha. Of course, It was the power of the lesser six Tao sect. Therefore, you have to be careful. If there was really the hell Tao of the six Tao sect here, the people of the Permitha would not let it go. Lin Xian took a deep breath. His expression became extremely solemn. The 24 ancient powerhouses around him had already started to attack. The laws engulfed everything, including the people of the divine union. Everyone fought and retreated. Lin Xian quickly rushed over. The power of Rinnegan bloomed. The illusion of the six paths of reincarnation appeared between heaven and earth. They emerged. Around him, the 24 ancient experts seemed to be affected by the power of reincarnation as their bodies stiffened. Taking advantage of this moment, everyone quickly counterattacked. Terrifying power hit their bodies. Among them, there were 2 ancient experts whose bodies were torn apart and shattered into pieces, scattering across the ground. Great, he was not invincible. The people from the Gu family were delighted, and the people from the Yi family were also smiling. But in the next moment, they couldn't laugh anymore. At the back, a surge of energy flew out from the corresponding coffin of the 24 experts and enveloped the other party. In the next moment, the bodies of the 2 shattered experts recombined. Although there were cracks where they were connected, they had formed a complete body. Boom! Terrifying immortal chi and precepts filled the air once again. Did he come back to life? Countless people were dumbfounded when they saw the scene. Was this an immortal existence? Even the people from the Emperor family were terrified. Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. No, these aren't immortal beings. To be precise, these were originally dead people. However, after they died, they were recombined. It was the power of the Naraka path that had gathered these people together. But where was the Naraka path? His eyes kept flickering. In the end, he stared at the 24 pitch-black ancient coffins. Just now, when the ancient powerhouses were shattered, a mysterious power had been emitted from the ancient coffins. Therefore, Lin Xian wanted to find out what was going on. His figure flashed as he turned into a black bolt of lightning and charged forward. The surrounding powerhouses attacked. Lin Xian used his sword to open the way. He turned into a dragon and slashed through all the attacks with his sword. He killed his way to the front of an ancient coffin. Roar! In front of the ancient coffin, the ancient powerhouse let out a low roar. He threw a punch. On his fist, the black-yellow springs flame kept jumping. It emitted an incomparably cold aura as it charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the 9 Suns' Saint Fire to fight against it. The 2 flames with completely opposite powers collided. With a boom, with the 2 of them as the center, it spread out in all directions. The void was torn apart. Some of the chosen immortal clan were also sent flying, vomiting blood. Retreat, retreat quickly. They were incomparably terrified. After one attack, Lin Xian blocked the other party's fist. His right Rinnegan bloomed with radiance. He looked past the other party and looked at the ancient coffin. The ancient coffin wasn't big. It was only 3 meters long and 1 meter wide. However, it was incomparably dark. It seemed that it couldn't be seen clearly at all. Lin Xian's Rinnegan turned into a sharp sword. When the light entered it, it was as if it entered a swamp. Reincarnation opened. The power of reincarnation kept stirring. The fog inside shook crazily as if it was about to be torn apart. In front of him, the powerhouse with the yellow springs flame let out a miserable cry. The yellow springs law on his body suddenly erupted, as if it had turned into the yellow springs of hell. He struck out with both palms at Lin Xian. At the same time, for streams of yellow springs water fell behind him. It also enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian roared angrily. Sword Qi filled the air, like a divine sword that reached the sky, protecting him. He allowed the yellow springs to hit his body, but it couldn't hurt him at all. It was split apart by the sword Qi. Boom! At the same time, Lin Xian used the power of his body and punched the other party. The yellow springs figure kept retreating. He roared angrily. Suppress! Lin Xian's right fist danced and punched 9 times in a row, completely shaking the other party. In the next moment, Lin Xian arrived in front of the black ancient coffin. He stood opposite the black ancient coffin. The black ancient coffin shook. A terrifying, cold, hellish aura spread from inside. The surrounding powerhouses and quasi-emperors were terrified. They looked at Lin Xian and trembled in fear. What is this kid doing? Is he thinking of entering the ancient coffin? What's in that ancient coffin? Countless voices discussing the Tao rang out. At this moment, an expert rushed over. His body was like a black shadow. He instantly charged towards the ancient coffin, passing by Lin Xian. When he passed by, he smiled coldly and said, "Kid, thank you for helping me clear the obstacles." This person was a member of the ghost race. Lin Xian sensed the same aura as the soul gatherer from this person. However, the soul gatherer from before was 6 Crown King, while this person before him was 7 Crown King. He was more than 10 times stronger than the soul gatherer. His strength was extremely terrifying. When he passed by Lin Xian, he sent a palm strike at Lin Xian. At the same time, he charged towards the ancient coffin. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He waved his sleeve, and a taiji diagram appeared, blocking this attack. In the next moment, he frowned. This was because he saw that half of this 7 Crown King of the ghost race had already entered the ancient coffin. In the next moment, his entire body was inside. Did he succeed? In the distance, the ghost race was delighted. The others were also nervous. He wondered what the 7 Crown King would be able to find in there. The Qilin race shook their heads. This time, Lin Wuyi really made a fool of himself. Yes, after being arrogant for so long, he finally suffered a loss. He'll suffer in the future. Some people who didn't like Lin Xian sneered and mocked him. However, Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. In the next moment, the corners of his mouth curled up in a cold smile. Stupid thing. Chapter 57:15. What did you say? The Qilin race's people were furious. Several elders walked out. They were now quasi-emperors. They shouted coldly, "Lin Wuyi, don't be too arrogant. It's no longer the same as before. It's not the time for you to sweep the world alone. We've all grown up. What right do you have to laugh at us?" These elders shouted coldly. Lin Xian looked at them and shook his head. "You're taking advantage of your seniority. You can't even see the power inside the ancient coffin. How dare you laugh at me here? Get lost." The quasi-emperors of the Qilin race were so angry that they trembled. They couldn't help but want to attack Lin Xian. One of them stepped out. "I'd like to see what realm you've reached now, Lin Wuyi." The Qilin aura on his body spread. He was about to attack. At this moment, a mournful cry was heard from the black ancient coffin. It made one's scalp go numb. Those quasi-emperors also felt their hair stand on end. Damn it, what happened? Could it be that something went wrong? The expressions of the dead spirit race people changed drastically. Before they could react, black fog spread out from the ancient coffin in front of them, and a figure walked out. It was the 7 Crown King who went in earlier. Great, the patriarch came out. The dead spirit race people all breathed a sigh of relief. They all rushed over. What did the patriarch gain? These people were extremely excited. 7 Crown King suddenly attacked. He waved his sharp claws like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. The 7 people in front of him were all cut in half. Those 7 people fell into a pool of blood, their faces filled with despair. They were quasi-emperors too. However, they were only the 5 Crown King. There was a powerful 6 Crown King. At this moment, after being attacked by 7 Crown King, they couldn't escape at all. They died in despair. Why? Before they died, they couldn't understand why the patriarch would attack them. The remaining dead spirit race people retreated in fear. They knelt on the ground. Patriarch, please spare us. Patriarch, what did we do wrong? They kept kowtowing. The surrounding people were also stunned. What was going on? The Chilean race people also frowned. Even a vicious tiger wouldn't eat its cubs. Did Seven Crown King want to take the treasure for himself? That shouldn't be the case. Lin Xian sneered. A bunch of idiots. I'm no longer an ancestor. I've become someone else's puppet. What? Hearing Lin Xian's words, the expressions of the surrounding people changed greatly. The quasi-emperor of the Kirin race snorted. Brat, are you kidding me? Who could control Seven Crown King in the blink of an eye? How could they not send someone with such strength? Lin Xian shook his head. You're really stupid. How could the Kirin clan have a trash like you? How dare you, kid? The old man was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He was a boundary emperor, yet he was being looked down upon. However, Lin Xian didn't pay any attention to him. He stood with his hands behind his back and said coldly, "Look at his eyes. They had long become spiritless, their souls already extinguished." As soon as those words were spoken, the experts in the surroundings immediately began to investigate. Then, the people in the depths of the deity ground gasped. He was really dead. The others also exclaimed, "No way." What kind of power was contained in that black ancient coffin? He was able to instantly kill Seven Crown King. Wasn't that too incredible? Countless people were terrified, and their scalps went numb. Lin Xian looked at the people of the Kirin race and sneered. Now you know who's the trash. The quasi-emperors of the Kirin race also turned pale. They hadn't sensed such danger before. Only Lin Xian had sensed it, and they had even mocked Lin Xian. Thinking of this, they were really embarrassed. This time, they had been slapped in the face. They didn't say a word, and their expressions were ugly. Lin Xian, on the other hand, suddenly attacked. With a backhand slash, he killed dozens of people of the dead spirit race nearby. Screams rang out. The people of the Kirin race were terrified. They quickly retreated and used the Kirin race to defend themselves. The people of the dead spirit race screamed, "Damn kid, how dare you sneak attack us?" They were crazy. They were already shocked when their patriarch sneaked an attack on them. Now they were attacked by a young man. They couldn't bear it. Damn it. They all stood up. Do you really think that the dead spirit race is easy to bully? After all, they came from the depths of the deity ground and were extremely powerful. How could they be afraid of a young man? Lin Xian sneered. You also know that it's a sneak attack. Is there a person in your family called the Soul Gatherer? When he attacked me, didn't you think about the consequences? What? Soul Gatherer? Hearing this, the people of the dead spirit race on the opposite side changed their expressions. You assassinated us just because of the Soul Gatherer? Some experts were not convinced. Lin Xian snorted. If my trump card was weaker, I would have been killed by the Soul Gatherer. Don't you think I should take revenge? Do you think I only sneaked an attack on you? Today, none of you will be able to leave. Extremely terrifying killing intent bloomed in Lin Xian's eyes. When he was in the Black Demon race, there were 3 parties that attacked him. The patriarch of the Black Demon race had been killed, and the entire Black Demon race had surrendered. The sect master of the soul-killing sect had been controlled and turned into a puppet. Only the Soul Gatherer himself had been killed. However, the dead spirit race that he represented continued to roam free. How could Lin Xian let these people go? He wanted everyone to know what the consequences would be if they dared to assassinate him and make an enemy of him. Lin Xian took out a sword, which was surrounded by sword aura. The cosmos sword song. The sword chi rumbled as if the gods were singing. Terrifying sword light swept out in all directions. Wherever it passed, the people of the dead spirit race fell one after another. Their bodies were split open and could not heal at all. Their souls were also mercilessly pierced. In the blink of an eye, Hundreds of dead spirit race experts had died. Moreover, the number of people was still increasing. Damn it, hurry up and defend. Summon the Patriarch. The people of the dead spirit race frantically retreated. Defend. Boundless netherworld aura surged out, forming two enormous netherworld shields. They were thousands of meters tall and stood between the heavens and the earth, blocking the sword chi. At the same time, they called for help, calling for the Patriarch in the distance. The dead spirit race also sent 3 seven-crown kings. Apart from the one who had died earlier, the other 2 were fighting in the distance. At this moment, one of the 7 crown kings heard the call for help and quickly returned. However, just as he was about to return, Lin Xian struck out once again. With a shocking punch, he shattered a giant underworld shield into pieces. Countless cracks appeared in front of the dead spirit race experts, shattering into pieces. Those people trembled. How could there be such a terrifying person? What kind of existence did they provoke? With another punch, the second shield shattered. Next, Lin Xian spat out sword chi, which turned into a sea of swords and flew forward. How could those from the dead spirit race possibly resist? This wave of swords seemed to have covered the entire universe. The experts of the dead spirit tribe fell one after another. When the surrounding people saw this, their scalps went numb. This was a crushing defeat. With the strength of one person, he defeated the entire dead spirit race. How many years had it been since they had seen such a scene? How dare you? At this moment, a crazy roar sounded in the distance. 7 crown king of the dead spirit race had rushed over. With a wave of his hand, dead spirit lightning turned into a lightning storm. It charged toward Lin Xian. Chapter 57:16. The lightning storm swept over. It carried a terrifying and destructive power, as well as a dark and cold aura. It was extremely terrifying. In the face of such a terrifying attack, the surrounding people scattered. Lin Xian threw a punch at him. Boom! A golden fist bloomed between heaven and earth. The aura of the purest yang swept out, charging at the lightning storm. The dark and cold aura of the lightning storm was completely extinguished by the flames. Then, the fist pierced through the storm and charged at 7 crown king. With a boom, the fist collided with the other party. 7 crown king felt as if all the bones in his body had cracked. He kept retreating, crashing through the void. In the next instant, he fell from the sky, half kneeling on the ground and spitting out a mouthful of blood. How can you be so powerful? He was stunned. There was a difference of 2 realms between them, and the other party did not use any weapons. How could he injure him with just the strength of his physique? What kind of strength was this? It was too terrifying. Lin Xian snorted. Trash! He stomped over, and the image of a dragon coiled under his feet. It was as if he had turned into a true dragon. Boom! Kacha! Sounds rang out. That 7 crown king was sent flying, half of his bones broken. At the same time, Lin Xian slashed out with his sword. Vast sword chi danced, carrying a biting, cold, killing intent. Lin Xian had merged his Qinkuan sword technique with the Azura sword technique. When the sword slashed out, it contained the vast power of heaven and earth, as well as a terrifying, killing intent. Another 100 experts of the netherworld race died. It was as if Lin Xian had entered a realm where no one could block his sword. Damn it, I'll kill you! 7 crown king roared. He took out a black box that floated in front of him. At the same time, endless black runes spread out from his body. Clearly, he was using a terrifying immortal spell, the Netherworld Finger. When he pointed out, a sinister wind swirled around it. It was as if a ghost had descended, revealing a dark and cold aura. Some of the people closer were shocked and retreated in fear. They felt as if their souls were being corroded. It was as if they were turning into dark puppets. This immortal spell was too terrifying. The remaining members of the dead spirit clan also grinned hideously. Great, the patriarch is angry. Let's see how this kid dies. How could such a finger technique be called a peerless immortal technique? I'll let you see what a true killing move is. Lin Xian's sword chi flickered. Killing intent surged from his body. Absolute kill sword Azura finger. The Azura sword skill was brandished continuously in the air, and the 5 sword lights linked together. It was as if the finger of the Azura god was pointing forward. The murderous intent it contained caused countless people to be terrified. Even the sect master of the Soul Slayer sect was so scared that he knelt down on one knee and kept surrendering. In the face of such a murderous aura, no one could withstand it. Not good. When 7 Crown King saw this, his expression changed drastically. At this moment, his confidence was shaken again. When the 2 fingers collided, the finger that carried the specter god was immediately split apart. Not only that, but the Azura sword was also aimed at his forehead. Before the sword arrived, the space between his brows had already split open. No, you can't kill me. I admit defeat, he roared crazily. However, this was a battle of life and death. How could he admit defeat? Lin Xian was unmoved. The Azura sword continued to stab into the other party's forehead. Stop! At this moment, another roar came from the distance. However, it was already too late. This sword pierced through the other party's head and killed his soul. After the sword, 7 Crown King was still standing there, but his vitality had been extinguished. Whoosh! The last person, a youth in a black robe, landed. He looked at the dead 7 Crown King, so angry that his entire body trembled. He turned his head, killing intent surging in his eyes. You dare to kill him? Why wouldn't I dare? Not only will I kill him, but I'll also kill you. Lin Xian used the Rinnegan. An array of reincarnation power appeared in the sky. A pair of eyes appeared, and he struck out with both palms, directly injuring the other party's soul. The new 7 Crown King was seriously injured in the blink of an eye. He was terrified and turned around to escape. Lin Xian sneered. You are the last powerhouse of the dead spirit race, right? After I kill you, there will be no more powerhouses from the dead spirit race coming to the ancient tomb. When I get out of the ancient tomb, I'll destroy the dead spirit race. A cold voice rang out, making everyone's scalps go numb. In the sky, the soul palms descended once again. No, was he going to die? The youth's face was filled with despair and disbelief. However, at this moment, a blade light swept over from the distance and actually cut off the soul palms. It had saved him. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. Someone was actually able to cut off the soul energy. Who was it? He looked into the distance. The others were also shocked. They all looked over. In the next instant, they saw a group of people flying back. This group of people had powerful auras. There was purple chi from the east, as well as blade light and sword light. It was the people of the Purple Mansion. They had returned. Countless people cried out in alarm. The people of the Divine Union sneered. They were just defeated, yet they still dared to return. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. These people were nothing to be afraid of. He stared at the 8 Crown King and said in a low voice, Are you here to die? Lin Wuti, you are too arrogant. Today, I will send you to hell. Yulan said coldly. She was here for revenge. The Purple Mansion Master also walked out and said with a smile, Lin Wuti, your time has come. You think you can do it? Lin Xian was disdainful. The Purple Mansion Master snorted. Just you wait. Then he looked at the 7 Crown King and said, We saved you. Submit to us. Thank you for saving me. I am willing to submit. The 7 Crown King could only rely on the Purple Mansion. Very good. The corners of the Purple Mansion Master's mouth curled up. Then they swarmed over and surrounded Lin Xian. It was as if they were afraid that he would run away. Lin Xian sneered. Show me what you have. Ordinary strength is no match for me. What he said was indeed correct. With his current strength, even if he were to face the 8-crown King Yulan, he would still be able to injure her. After all, he had a lot of trump cards. Yulan walked out and said in a low voice, I know you have the dragon sword soul and an extreme weapon, but this time you are no match for me, because I brought this thing. Then she waved her hand. Thunder clouds rolled in the sky, and the void cracked. A terrifying power spread out. Everyone was stunned. What was it that could make these people so confident? In the next instant, when they sensed that terrifying soul aura, they were all stupefied. Some people's pupils shrank. Could it be that thing? That shouldn't be possible, right? How could he have obtained that item? These people roared crazily. Murong Qingqing and the others' pupils shrank. It was the energy of the soul cutter. They could control the soul cutter. The crimson dragon jumped up. I can't be wrong. This Purple Mansion Master is too crazy. He could even bring the soul cutter. In the sky, the Purple Mansion Master laughed. Yes, it is the soul cutter. Lin Wudy, are you desperate now? As his voice fell, a long sword appeared in the crack in the sky. Chapter 5717. The Soul Slicing Blade, specialized in slicing one soul. These people had all experienced the soul slicing blade before. They had no way of dealing with this weapon. All they could do was block it. It wasn't easy to block it either. Only an extreme grade aura could block it. At this moment, the Purple Mansion Master took out the dragon pattern cauldron. He looked down at Lin Xian from above and said, I know that you have 3 extreme grade weapons. However, do you dare to use them together? You will have to bear 3 times the power of the great emperor. No matter how strong you are, you won't be able to withstand it. Therefore, you will definitely die this time. Boom! 2 dragons emerged from the dragon pattern cauldron and grabbed the soul slicing blade. They used the extreme grade power to activate the soul slicing blade. This way, they could deceive the great emperor's power in the ancient tomb. Everyone went crazy when the blade slashed down. Back off quickly. Everyone dodged. Lin Xian shouted angrily. Retreat, he said to the people of the Divine Union. At the same time, his body kept swaying. With a loud boom, he created 6 illusions of the 6 realms. However, they were all shattered by the blade. In the next instant, his face turned pale. Many people's souls were extinguished by this slash of the saber. These people were crazy. I want to go home. Those people were so frightened that they roared. At this moment, it was unknown if they had sensed the power of the soul-slicing blade. The 24 ancient powerhouses in the surroundings attacked crazily. They started to reap the lives of the people around them. A huge battle broke out in an instant. The 24 ancient powerhouses attacked continuously like machines. They weren't afraid of being destroyed at all. This was because the destroyed bodies could be reassembled instantly. What was even more strange was that the people who were killed seemed to have become puppets fighting machines. More and more puppet armies appeared. This was the power of the Hell Path. Although it couldn't bring the dead back to life, it could still fight after death. Under such circumstances, some people from the Soul Sect, Black Devil Sect, and even the Divine Union died. Then they turned into fighting machines. Lin Xian couldn't care less about this. The soul-slicing blade in the sky was aimed at him. This made him feel as if he was facing a great enemy. His sky-devouring jar could indeed block it. However, this kind of passive counterattack made him feel extremely depressed. He said coldly, "If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Originally, he hadn't planned on killing the 8-crown king here. However, the other party was truly too despicable. He had even brought the soul-severing saber. Since the other party wanted to kill him so badly, he didn't mind revealing some of his trump cards in advance. Send him out. Do you really think you can kill me? Yulan sneered. The soul-slashing saber slashed down again. At this moment, Lin Xian waved his hand, and the universe ring flew forward in an arc. It collided with the soul cutter. It was useless. Other than extreme weapons that could block it, nothing else could block it. Yulan laughed loudly. Indeed, after she came, the Emperor clans and chosen immortal clans all suffered heavy losses. On the Divine Union's side, there were also casualties. Everyone lowered their heads in front of Yulan. Even the people from the martial monarch clans wanted to flee. How could he resist such a person? They believed that the best outcome for Lin Xian would be to escape with the heaven-devouring jar injured. It would be impossible for him to kill Yulan. However, Lin Xian defied the heavens. The more impossible something was, the more he wanted to do it. So what if he was the eight-crown king? So what if he was the soul-severing saber? He could still kill the other party. The universe ring flew into the sky with a mysterious power. There was a loud clang. It collided with the soul-severing saber. Shatter! Yulan sneered. The people from the Purple Mansion clan also had disdainful expressions. What could go against the soul-severing saber? However, in the next instant, they were all stunned. They discovered that a small bracelet had blocked the terrifying soul-severing saber. How was this possible? Yulan's pupils shrank. The Purple Mansion clan master also exclaimed, "What is that thing? How come I've never seen it before?" He had fought with Lin Xian many times before. He was all too familiar with Lin Xian. He also knew all the treasures on Lin Xian's body. However, he had never seen this small bracelet before. It was not the heaven-devouring jar, nor the dragon sword soul, but it had the power to block the soul-severing saber. Could it be a new treasure that the other party had obtained? Damn it! Why hadn't he heard of it before? He was too careless. He was just about to remind him. At this time, Lin Xian flew over. The demon god wings on his back unfolded, making his speed extremely fast. In an instant, he was in front of Yulan. Not good. The Purple Mansion clan master was so scared that he retreated frantically. He reminded Senior he has the firmament wristband, so he has a chance to ignore the armor. If he cooperates with the dragon sword soul, we can't resist the invincible power at all. As he spoke, he called back the dragon, wending cauldron in front of him. A terrifying extreme Dao aura protected them. Yulan also shouted angrily and shot out the empty valley orchid. Huge orchids covered heaven and earth. That tenacious power was enough to shatter the heavens. Lin Xian laughed. "What? Are you afraid? Then you shouldn't have provoked me." Lin Xian shouted angrily. The dragon sword soul spread out, cutting a crack in the void. The dragon, wending cauldron's defense cracked. The people of the Purple Mansion sucked in a cold breath. The Purple Mansion clan master sneered. "It's useless. You just opened it, but you can't hurt us." He was ready to activate the dragon pattern cauldron again. However, Lin Xian was very fast. With a wave of his hand, a black vortex flew out. There was something wrapped in it, and it flew towards Yulan. It was a statue. It was incomparably white and holy like an angel. However, there was a demon horn on its forehead. This was the heavenly demon statue. Previously, the sixth dragon general had used this thing to damage Lin Xian's Dao heart. In the end, he was suppressed by Lin Xian. This was an extremely terrifying thing. Legend had it that even the 9-crown king had been affected. Dao heart should be enough to deal with the 8-crown king now. Sure enough, when the heavenly demon statue appeared in front of Yulan, Yulan's face instantly changed. She felt that her soul and will of the great Dao were affected. It was as if her entire body was about to go berserk. "No!" he roared in horror. "This is a heavenly demon. Damn it, how do you have such a thing?" She let out a shrill cry. When the people beside her heard this, they immediately fled. A heavenly demon was an existence that could destroy one's Dao heart. The Purple Mansion clan master also turned around and fled. "Damn it, use your extreme Dao weapon to help me." Yulan roared crazily. However, the Purple Mansion clanmaster's face was pale. He was only the six-crown king. Just now, when he approached the heavenly demon, he felt that his soul was about to split open. He could only attack from afar and activate the dragon-pattern cauldron. However, it was blocked by the heaven-swallowing jar. At this moment, the universe ring flew back to Lin Xian's hand. The soul-slashing saber erupted with light again. Lin Xian shouted, "Qing Qing!" Qing Qing threw out the desolate tower to fight against the soul-slashing saber. Lin Xian smiled. This time, who could save her? Under the heavenly demon, she would turn into ashes. Yulan was completely affected by the heavenly demon. She let out a miserable cry and rolled in the sky, flying crazily from all directions. Everywhere she passed, there was the power of the heavenly demon. This was because the heavenly demon statue was hovering above her head. In fact, 2 people from the chosen immortal clan didn't have time to escape. Similarly, they were affected by the power of the heavenly demon. Crazy. Everyone retreated crazily. Chapter 57:18. A miserable shriek was heard, as though the gates of hell had been opened. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. It was too frightening. The 8-crown king was in such a miserable state. How could Lin Wuti have such a terrifying thing? In the end, Yulan died in despair. Her Tao heart was shattered, her cultivation went berserk, and she died completely. Cracks appeared on the heavenly demon statue. Then, with a loud crack, it split into 2. Had she used up all her energy? Looking at this scene, Lin Xian also sighed. Such a good trump card is gone. However, the effect was shocking. The 8-crown king was killed just like that. He was dead. The others had all gone crazy. The people from the monarch clan sucked in a breath of cold air. They looked at Lin Xian and felt their scalps go numb. They couldn't afford to provoke this demon. The people from the Purple Mansion were even paler. The Purple Mansion lord's body began to tremble. Even the 8-crown king had died? After dealing with her, it's time to deal with you. Lin Xian looked up and stared at the Purple Mansion master. The Purple Mansion master gritted his teeth. Damn it, retreat. They retreated quickly. Lin Xian wouldn't let them leave. He waved his hand, and the people from the Divine Union rushed forward. A huge battle was about to break out. However, at this moment, a black aura spread out from the 24 coffins, intertwining. A black eye formed on the ground. That eyeball was extremely strange. The moment it appeared, it released a trace of reincarnation power. Then, the corpse of the 8-crown king seemed to be controlled. It flew quickly towards the black eyeball. This shocking scene caused everyone to be stunned. What was going on? Lin Xian's expression changed. Oh no, he forgot that this was the purgatory path. Even if she died, she could be controlled by the purgatory path and become a stronger puppet. Damn it. He slashed out with his sword. Sword Qi flew forward, like a divine rainbow, slashing at the black aura. With a clang, the black chains were cut apart. The corpse of the 8-crown king stopped. As for the black eyeball, it was furious. It suddenly turned towards Lin Xian and emitted a terrifying black radiance. Boom! The people around Lin Xian were all sent flying, coughing up mouthfuls of blood. Even Yan Ruyu, Murong Qingqin, and the others felt the impact, their faces turning pale. Lin Xian's expression was even more serious. The reincarnation light in his right eye blossomed with a terrifying aura as it fought back. The power of the 2 reincarnations exploded. Lin Xian cast the 6 Paths reincarnation and formed an illusion of the world of reincarnation. It swept toward the black eyeball in front of it, wanting to suppress it. Although Lin Xian had mastered 3 Rinnegan, his cultivation was only at the quasi-emperor level. Although there was only 1 black eyeball in the purgatory path, it was still in the tomb of the great emperor. It was likely that this was something that the sole emperor controlled in the past. Thus, its might was extraordinarily terrifying. The illusion of the Six Paths world shook violently under the black eyeball. The closer one got to the top, the more cracks there were. Lin Xian's forehead was dripping with sweat. Obviously, he was also having a hard time. The strange scene made everyone not dare to act rashly. For a moment, the world became incomparably quiet. Only sweat dripped on the ground, making a ticking sound. Should they take advantage of this time to kill Lin Wuti? The people of the 10,000 Blades sect gritted their teeth. Morong Qingqing snorted coldly. You dare! She took out the desolate tower, and it bloomed with a terrifying light. Everyone was terrified. The people of the 10,000 Blades sect also gritted their teeth. They didn't act rashly. This place was in a stalemate. In the depths of the great emperor's tomb stood a group of people. This group of people had laws condensed on their bodies, and they stood there like immortals. At the front was half a frog. The immortal chi on his body was really terrifying. That was true immortal chi, enough to sweep across the world. At this moment, he frowned slightly and snorted coldly. The surrounding quasi-emperors immediately knelt on one knee in fear. Half a frog didn't attack the array in front of him anymore. Instead, he turned his head and looked into the distance. The immortal light in his eyes erupted with power. Yulan has fallen, he said in a deep voice. The pupils of the quasi-emperors in front of him also constricted. What? Yulan has fallen. That's impossible, right? They suddenly raised their heads, their faces full of surprise. Yulan was the 8-crown king. She was definitely an existence that could sweep through everything here. No matter how dangerous the great emperor's tomb was, Yulan shouldn't have fallen. Could it be that the great emperor families behind them made a move? A quasi-emperor said, "Just now, we felt the power of several extreme weapons. They sensed that the extreme weapons attacked our Permitha. This is too much. Do they really think that the great emperor families can be arrogant in front of our Permitha? They're just ants." The green-robed great emperor said in a deep voice, "Go and see who the enemy is. Bring him here. I want him to live a life worse than death." Yes. The 2 8-crown kings stood up and were about to leave. Suddenly, the green-robed great emperor's expression changed. He exclaimed in surprise and looked into the distance. The 2 8-crown kings didn't dare to say anything and could only wait there. Soon, the green-robed great emperor's eyes burst out with a shocking light. This aura, the 6 paths of reincarnation. I feel the power of the hell path. It seems that the Soul Emperor has indeed grasped one of the 6 paths. The other quasi-emperors were also shocked. The hell path? It's actually here. Great. If we get it, it'll be a great merit. The hell path is one of the 6 paths. More importantly, it's related to the 9 Serenities hell. If we get it, our chances of winning the 9 Serenities hell will increase by a lot. That's right. This time, I'll personally take action and seize the hell path. After returning, it'll also be a great merit. Therefore, he couldn't help but make a move. He opened his mouth and spat out a scarlet light. It turned into a sharp, blood-colored blade and instantly flew into the distance. It pierced through heaven and earth. For frogs, capturing things couldn't be easier. A black eyeball was something he could easily obtain. Because he was a great emperor, this attack carried the power of immortal chi. In front, Lin Xian's Rinnegan was confronting the black eyeball. All of a sudden, a terrifying power surged out. Wherever it passed, the void would constantly shatter. The surrounding people were instantly pierced through. Thousands of experts of the chosen immortal clan turned into a bloody mist in this hell path. The others felt their scalps go numb. Run! This is the power of a great emperor. Everyone was terrified. Could it be that they had angered the supreme existence here? Their scalps went numb as they quickly retreated. Lin Xian's expression also changed. This power didn't belong to the Soul Emperor, but the green-robed great emperor. Thinking of this, he also quickly retreated. However, in the next moment his expression changed. He discovered that the green-robed great emperor wasn't attacking him, but the black eyeball. The other party also wanted to snatch the hell path. "Damn it, stay here," Lin Xian roared. So what if the other party is a great emperor? In an instant he took out the heaven-devouring jar and fiercely slammed it out. With a bang, a terrifying black vortex appeared on the heaven-devouring jar. Tunton collided with the scarlet light. The two collided. Extreme power spread out, immortal chi danced, and the entire void was completely shattered. The surrounding people hurriedly fled. However, they couldn't escape at all. Under this power, everything was turned into ashes. Fortunately, at the critical moment, the great emperor families joined forces and took out their extreme weapons to defend. Only then did they block it. Otherwise, all of them would have been reduced to ashes with just this one strike. Even so, they were still severely injured. Lin Xian spat out a mouthful of blood. However, it was still fine. He blocked it. The black eyeball was also sent flying. It wasn't taken away by the great emperor. Chapter 57:19. Countless black holes filled heaven and earth. Everyone looked at this scene in a daze. Lin Wudi blocked the great emperor's attack. They felt like they were dreaming. "Brother Xian, are you okay?" Murong Qingqing and the others also came over looking nervous. Lin Xian had blood at the corner of his mouth. He swallowed 2 pills. Then he said, "Be careful. I'm afraid there will be a great battle." Lin Xian was ready to open the sword world at any time. Murong Qingqing and Yan Ruyu also looked serious. No one dared to be careless. This time, their target was the Emperor Lord. He was an existence that stood at the pinnacle of the martial path. In the depths of the ancient tomb, the green-robed great emperor's face darkened. "How dare you block my attack? No matter who you are dead meat." A piercing voice sounded, and the 9 heavens and 10 earths were shattering. The surrounding quasi-emperors were also stunned. Someone blocked the green-robed great emperor's attack. Who was it? It was impossible for a second great emperor to appear in this place. Some of the 8 crowned kings felt their scalps go numb. They just felt an extremely terrifying aura. Someone was using an extreme weapon to fight against the great emperor. But soon they sneered. The great emperor's family? They were reckless. So what if they had an extreme weapon? A quasi-emperor using an extreme weapon couldn't compete with a true great emperor. Although extreme weapons couldn't break through, the great emperor could still kill those people with a shockwave. The green-robed great emperor waved his hand, and the surrounding people instantly cast immortal spells and flew out. In the next moment, a gate of laws appeared above Lin Xian and the others. From inside, figures walked out one after another. At the same time, a cold voice sounded. "How dare you compete with us? Do you want to die?" His voice was filled with boundless pressure, making everyone want to kneel down and worship him. The figures walked out from inside and stood between heaven and earth. The people of the chosen immortal clan and the great emperor's family felt their scalps go numb after seeing this. Weren't they the group of experts who came in? They were from the Permethar realm. They were the great emperor's people. Countless people gasped. Was the great emperor from the Nirvana realm about to appear? Was he the one who did it just now? At this moment, the entire chosen immortal clan knelt on the ground and kowtowed. Even the faces of the people from the Z Mansion became ugly, although they were not kneeling now. However, if the green-robed emperor were to appear, all of them would probably kneel before him. The only ones left standing were the great emperor clans. The expressions of these soldiers were also extremely solemn. They would not kneel to the other party. However, they didn't dare to make an enemy out of him. The people from the Divine Union gathered behind Lin Xian and the others. They swore to follow Lin Xian to their deaths. As for Lin Xian, his expression was solemn as he looked at his opponent. The light of reincarnation in his eyes flickered continuously. This group of people were all quasi-emperors. The weakest was the 7-crown king, and the strongest was the 8-crown king. Even though there were no 9-crown kings, those 8-crown kings were still extremely frightening. The aura was even more terrifying than the faint blue aura from before. The 8-crown king had an extremely frightening great Tao. He wore a white robe and was surrounded by sword aura. He looked like a sword immortal. At this moment his blue eyes looked down. When he saw Yolan's corpse, his pupils shrank. Yolan was really dead. Who did it? The white-robed 8-crown king roared at the sky. Patriarch! Everyone in the Immortal Sword sect knelt down. This was one of their patriarchs who had been fortunate enough to enter the Permetha realm. They knelt on the ground and pointed at Lin Xian, saying, "It's this brat. Patriarch, please kill him." The people in the Immortal Sword sect were extremely happy. Their patriarch had made a move. That brat would definitely die. You, the white-robed patriarch, stared at Lin Xian. The piercing cold sword aura in his eyes kept erupting, piercing through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. A black vortex appeared beside him and blocked the sword aura. He wasn't afraid of the 8-crown king. He said, "That's right. I killed Yolan. Do you want to follow in her footsteps?" He was threatening the other party. How dare he threaten the 8-crown king? The white-robed patriarch's face darkened. "Do you want to die?" Lin Xian laughed. "If you have the guts, then let's see who will die." He even dared to resist the attack of a great emperor, let alone the 8-crown king. Lin Xian, at this moment, looked down on the world. He was extremely arrogant. At this moment, there was another man with a head of blue hair that fell to his feet like a waterfall. At the same time, he had a saber with a biting cold aura. The blue-haired man was not very handsome, but he had a murderous aura about him. He seemed to be a peerless killing god. The people of the 10,000 Sabers sect also knelt. Patriarch. This was their 10,000 Sabers patriarch, who was also the 8-crown king and had joined the Permetha realm. The 10,000 Sabers patriarch stared at Lin Xian and said in a low voice. The black vortex beside him was very similar to the extreme weapon that had just attacked. Could it be that he was the one fighting against the great emperor? As soon as these words were said, the powerhouses who came out all stared at Lin Xian. "Which great emperor family are you from?" they said coldly. Lin Xian sneered. "You don't deserve to talk to me. Ask the green robe to come out." Lin Xian knew that he had been targeted by the green robe. Since that was the case, he wouldn't be afraid. He would face it directly. "Who do you think you are? You don't deserve to talk to our great emperor." The 10,000 Sabers patriarch was instantly furious. The white-robed patriarch's face was full of killing intent. The other party dared to look down on them. "Let me see what right you have to be arrogant." He slashed out with his sword like a peerless immortal sword and instantly arrived in front of Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He held the sword with both hands and struck out with the sword of the universe, which turned into a roaring universe dragon. The two collided, and the sword chi resonated and dissipated between heaven and earth. The white-robed patriarch's pupils shrank. What a terrifying sword intent! I can feel an invincible power. The person in the immortal sword knelt on the ground. Patriarch, he is the descendant of the great dragon. He has the great dragon sword soul. What? The great dragon sword soul? The white-robed patriarch was surprised. Not only did the other party have an extreme weapon, but he also had the great dragon sword. At the same time, his eyes bloomed with extremely cold, killing intent. The great dragon sword? Then he is their enemy on the other side. Kid, kneel on the ground, hand over the great dragon sword soul, hand over the extreme weapon, and I will give you a quick death. The white-robed patriarch was like a flying immortal, ethereal to the extreme. Lin Xian directly looked past his gaze and into the distance. "Green robe, don't you dare to come out?" The white-robed patriarch's face turned ugly. He was ignored again. He wanted to get angry and attack. However, at this moment, a loud voice sounded. "And how dare you challenge me? Do you know the consequences of offending a great emperor? It is a fate worse than death. I can let you live in despair for 10,000 years. I will let you suffer for eternity." As the green-robed great emperor spoke, the souls of the kneeling chosen immortal clan members all split open. The great emperor's family was attacked, and the extreme weapon defense produced a sonorous sound. This was a great emperor. He was high and mighty, and his voice could determine the life and death of a quasi-emperor. On Lin Xian's side, he also took out his extreme weapon to defend against the people behind him. The three extreme weapons bloomed with radiance to resist the voice of the great emperor. Kaiser Blood, Quasi-Emperor Mandala, and the others were terrified. Their faces were filled with despair. Lin Xian had offended a great emperor. Would they all go to hell? Chapter 5720. The green-robed great emperor had arrived, bringing with him a supreme emperor aura that made countless people feel despair. The aura of the great emperor was enough to destroy them, not to mention the strength of the great emperor himself. Lin Xian was also facing a great enemy. He felt the pressure on his body like millions of ancient mountains. He couldn't even breathe. "You're the ant that dares to go against me?" The green-robed great emperor's cold gaze fell on Lin Xian's body. It caused Lin Xian's surroundings to instantly shatter, turning into an endless black hole. Lin Xian roared to the sky. Ah! Lin Xian operated the sky-devouring jar with all his might. An endless black vortex with an extreme Dao aura swept out. At the same time, the dragon on his body roared, and the dragon-shaped sword Qi kept surging. Only then did he manage to block the aura on his opponent's body. However, his face was already pale. The great emperor was really too strong. He was only a quasi-emperor now, and only the five-crown king. The great emperor was an existence that was completely above him. The surrounding chosen immortal clan experts all prostrated on the ground. Only Lin Xian stubbornly resisted. This scene surprised the quasi-emperors on the other side. They never thought that someone could really withstand the might of the great emperor. This kid was really tenacious. The green-robed great emperor also snorted coldly. "Do you think you can compete with me just because you have an extreme weapon? You're too far away. Even if I can't break your extreme-grade weapon, I can still torture you to death." As he spoke, the green-robed great emperor gently waved his claws. There was a boom. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed. The expressions of the great emperor's family members changed drastically. Not good. Retreat quickly. Even if they had extreme weapons, they didn't dare to fight with a true great emperor. They quickly retreated with their extreme weapons. The other chosen immortal clan members followed beside them and quickly fled. Boom! Lin Xian roared to the sky. Although the other party had only casually attacked, he had to go all out. The sky-devouring jar above his head quickly blasted out, and a black vortex covered the sky and earth. At the same time, he held the great dragon sword soul with both hands. He slashed out with the sword. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out, and a world-shattering aura filled the air. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. Everyone retreated far away and looked ahead. Someone said, "Lin Wuti is dead for sure." Even an extreme-grade weapon wouldn't be able to protect him. This was the consequence of going against the great emperor. The people from the Purple Mansion sect all became complacent. A peerless enemy was finally dead. Lin Xian's figure emerged from the crack in front of him. 5 cracks appeared on his body, penetrating his entire body. Blood continuously dripped down, dyeing the 9 heavens red. However, his eyes were incomparably resolute. He didn't die, even though he was injured by the attack earlier. but he was still alive. How could this be? The members of the 10,000 Blades sect were stunned. He was actually still alive. The pupils of the people from the Purple Mansion shrank as well. This person must be killed today. If the other party was allowed to live, he would become a peerless enemy and cause endless trouble in the future. The people on the other side were also surprised. Did the green-robed Great Emperor's attack fail to kill him? As expected of the person who possessed half of the heaven-devouring jar and the great dragon's sword soul. However, so what? They weren't worried. This kid definitely couldn't compete with a true Great Emperor. The other party's next move would destroy both his body and soul. The green-robed Great Emperor was also surprised. He didn't die? Interesting. It would be a pity if he died like this. Don't worry. I will first beat you half to death and then make you wish you were dead. He raised his claws again and waved them gently. Lin Xian roared into the sky. Divine Union, listen up. Give me all your power. Qing Cheng, Ruyu, use all your strength. Extreme grade weapons. Lin Xian was going to fight to the death with the other party today. He opened the sword world and the power inside surged out crazily. The heaven-devouring jar emitted a pitch-black, demonic aura as if it had been revived. The dragon-shaped sword aura roared nonstop. A true dragon appeared. The dragon's shadow between heaven and earth had an indestructible power. Behind, the Divine Union, the Black Demon race, the Rakshasa race, and the 6 great chosen immortal races could only pour all their power into the front. The desolate tower also erupted with power. On the other side, green lotuses bloomed all over the sky, sweeping through the 9 heavens. Were they going to fight to the death? The people of the Yi family exclaimed when they saw the scene. The people of the Phoenix race rushed over. They would not let Morong Qingqing be in danger. They also attacked, causing the power of the desolate tower to become even more terrifying. Kill! Lin Xian roared. The great dragon Sword Soul took the lead and attacked. Vast and unparalleled power slashed forward. The heaven-devouring maelstrom guarded the surroundings. At the same time, the power of the desolate tower and the green lotuses erupted. The power of these extreme grade weapons overwhelmed the 9 heavens. They tore the desolate land apart. Ants, do you dare to fight against me? The green-robed Great Emperor was disdainful as he waved his claws. An earth-shattering sound was heard, sweeping across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. At the same time, the power of the Soul Emperor also erupted. The Earth Ancient Tomb did not allow the power of other great emperors to appear. In addition to the power of the Soul Emperor, the front was completely shattered. Everyone retreated in fear. On the other hand, Lin Xian was vomiting blood. He had to admit that the Great Emperor was really too strong. Even though he had used his trump card, he was still affected. Boom! The dragon-shaped sword aura was shattered, and the great dragon sword soul was also forced back. Lin Xian kept retreating. The heaven-devouring crown beside him released its extreme-grade aura. On the other side, Morong Qingqing, Yen Ruyu, the Divine Union, and the Black Demon race were all affected. At the critical moment, the heaven-devouring jar covered the sky and blocked the attack. However, it could not protect them. Lin Xian's body was split into 2. Morong Qingqing and Yen Ruyu's bodies were cracked. The 500,000 elites of the Black Demon race were all shattered. On the Soul race's side, the assassins were also killed. Most of the people from the 6 great chosen immortal races were also turned into a bloody mist by this attack and no longer existed. It was as if hell had opened between heaven and earth. The smell of blood made everyone's scalp tingle. It was a shocking attack. In the blink of an eye, at least 1 million elites had fallen. This was the strength of the Great Emperor. Moreover, this was under the protection of an extreme grade weapon. If the Great Emperor was really angry and slapped down, a planet would probably be turned into ashes in an instant. The Hellfire Dragon's expression was also ugly. He said, Kid, you are no match for the great emperor now. You should leave first. The great emperor's strength was actually so strong. Lin Xian was also shocked. He gritted his teeth. Leave? How was that possible? He had already been targeted by the other party. There was no way he could leave. Now he could only fight to the death. Qingqing, you guys leave first. I will fight him, Lin Xian said. Murong Qingqing's face was covered in blood and injuries. She shook her head and said, Brother Xian, I will advance and retreat with you. Yan Ruyu said, I won't leave either. Crimson Dragon said, Master Dragon won't leave either. At most I will die. Good, then we will go all out. Lin Xian's eyes burst with an extremely cold light. He checked and found that there was still a lot of power in the sword world. At this moment, the sword world had become more and more mysterious. At the critical moment, he could also bring everyone in to avoid the attack. Then, he would launch another extreme, great attack. The great dragon sword soul in Lin Xian's hand flashed again. On the other side, the green-robed great emperor's face also darkened. A small ant actually dared to resist after seeing him. He had no more patience. Chapter 57:21. The green-robed great emperor decided to kill them, not giving them a chance to live. A few small ants made him very annoyed. Killing them and seizing their extreme weapons would be a heaven-shaking harvest. Thinking of this, a terrifying light appeared in his eyes. His claws were filled with green immortal qi. Previously, it was just the power of his physique. Now he was going to use the immortal qi. This power was countless times stronger than before. As soon as it appeared, the entire ancient tomb was about to crack. Not good. The Hellfire Dragon's expression changed. Dodge, this is true immortal qi, enough to destroy everything. Even with the defense of an extreme weapon, they would probably be shocked to death. Want to run? It's too late. Do you think you can run in front of me? The green-robed great emperor's claws slammed down, carrying the power of immortal qi. Lin Xian roared to the sky. Dragon scales appeared on his body, and he merged with the great dragon's sword soul. He was going to use his strongest attack. But at this moment, heaven and earth split open, and a hand pressed on his forehead. The dragon scales on his body disappeared. At the same time, another hand slammed into the sky, attacking the green-robed great emperor. What's going on? Lin Xian was stunned. Boom! The power in his body was suppressed. Not only him, but Murong Qingqing and Yan Ryu were also stunned. They didn't use their extreme weapons. They were stopped. Despair appeared in their eyes. However, they soon realized that something was wrong. This person didn't come to attack them, but to protect them. It was a shocking battle, as if two gods were fighting. This attack directly tore open the ancient tomb and attacked the 9 heavens. Countless arrays were shattered. That place was completely turned into nothingness. Ah, the people of the chosen immortal clan screamed. Their bodies were broken, and they were extremely miserable. The people of the great emperor family also kept vomiting blood. Although they had extreme weapons protecting them, they were still seriously injured. Everyone's face was filled with fear. They frantically retreated and even wanted to escape the ancient tomb. The people in the first few palaces were also terrified. They crawled on the ground, and some people were turned into blood mist. At this moment, everyone in the tomb was terrified. Not only Gumu, but the people of the immortal soul realm were also stunned. What kind of power was this? Why do I sense an extreme Dao aura? This is the power of an immortal artifact. Heavens, are the great emperors fighting? It actually pierced through heaven and earth. Countless people looked into the distance, in the direction of the great emperor's tomb. 2 great emperors had appeared in that place. They were so scared that their scalps were numb. None of them dared to approach him. The people of the Purple Mansion were also seriously injured. However, compared to the others, his situation was much better. The Purple Mansion Lord sneered. Lin Wuti would definitely die under such an attack. The Thousand Saber Ancestor and the White Robe Ancestor laughed coldly. He must be an idiot if he dared to go against Higan. In everyone's opinion, Lin Xian was dead meat. However, at this moment, a crazy roar came from the broken void. Damn it, who is it? Who dares to resist me? What was going on? Everyone went crazy. This was the voice of the green-robed Great Emperor. Moreover, the Great Emperor was so angry. Could it be that Lin Wuti was fine and he had blocked it? Impossible. Everyone shook their heads frantically. The White Hair Ancestor and the others were dumbfounded. They were the 8 Crown Kings. They followed the Great Emperor and knew how powerful he was. The other party would definitely not be able to block it, even with an extreme Dao weapon. The difference in cultivation base was too great. It was so great that he could not block it. But why was the green-robed Great Emperor so angry? On the Divine Union's side, Bai Susu and the others were in despair. They were in despair. In that moment, many of their companions had died. They had thought that this time they would be annihilated along with Lin Xian. However, they had not expected that at the last moment, someone would help them block the attack. Who was it? Kaiser Blood and the others were still looking up at the sky. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He had also felt the Great Emperor's power. Moreover, there was a familiar power. It was the power of the divine fire. The real divine fire. She waved her hand gently, and the morning mist filled the air. The toad jumped back and said, "Are you guys okay?" "I'm back." "You damn toad. Could it be that you're the one who brought back the martial emperors?" The Crimson Dragon exclaimed. Yan Ruyu, Qing Qing, and the others were also relieved. It seemed that the reinforcements had come. The toad said, "Don't worry. The Empress is awake, so you are safe." The Empress? Lin Xian looked up and saw a figure in front of him. Her back was facing him. Her upper body was that of a beautiful girl, but her lower body was that of a snake. Her white scales emitted a cold light. There was a flame dancing on her body. That was the real divine fire. It was as terrifying as immortal qi. At this moment, Kaiser Blood and the others knelt on the ground and kowtowed. The real Great Emperor had come again. In the distance, the Gu family and the Qilin clan also saw them and were shocked. Was another Great Emperor coming? How could this be? The people of the 10,000 Knives sect and the Immortal Sword sect were in despair. Lin Xian also knew a living Great Emperor. Wasn't it incredible? The pupils of the Purple Mansion sect shrank. They were from the Heavenly Court. The Heavenly Court indeed contained endless secrets. They didn't expect a Great Emperor to come out. The Purple Mansion sect had always been against the Heavenly Court. Because of the Permethaz order, they kept chasing after the Heavenly Court to find out the secrets of the Heavenly Court. According to the Heavenly Court's guess, the Heavenly Court was very likely the place where the great emperors in the God realm slept or recuperated. It must be broken. It seemed that the Heavenly Court's guess was right. A great emperor from the Heavenly Court had come out. Is your strength already so weak to such an extent? It seems that losing half of your body has a great impact on you. The Empress said in a deep voice. Her voice was very pleasant to the ears, but there was mockery in it. Everyone's pupils shrank. Someone dared to laugh at the green-robed Great Emperor. The green-robed Great Emperor's face changed. "It's you? You're still alive?" He was really shocked. The Empress smiled. "You can live with half of your body. Why can't Ben Huang live?" "Humph, so what if you're alive?" "I'll let you die today." The green-robed Great Emperor suddenly attacked. The immortal qi on his body spread out and turned into a terrifying immortal light. He charged forward. He wanted to kill Lin Xian and the others. Lin Xian's face turned cold. The Empress snorted coldly. "How dare you play such tricks in front of me? Do you want to die?" She slapped out her jade-like hand with a terrifying power. It seemed like a fire snake was roaring. She charged directly to the 9 heavens. With a boom, heaven and earth shook. This palm actually penetrated the immortal chi and sent the green-robed great emperor's huge body flying. In the next moment, the empress's body was blooming with flames. It was very bright, forming a sea of fire. She rose into the air and left the tomb of the great emperor. Since we're going to fight, then let's be thorough. Don't let the power of the soul emperor restrain me. Her voice reverberated throughout the universe. Chapter 57:22. Heavens, the green-robed great emperor was sent flying? The people of the chosen immortal clan were terrified. The people of the Purple Mansion were also shocked. The newly arrived great emperor was actually this terrifying. Murong Qingqing and the others were also shocked. The empress was really powerful. The toad said, "Of course, your majesty. It's not a problem to beat that frog." He was very confident. Lin Xian used his Rinnegan to observe. However, he could only see 2 blurry balls of energy. A ball of immortal chi and a ball of divine fire had already shot up to the sky and collided. Each collision shattered the sky and earth and spread thousands of miles. Any boundary emperor would definitely die if they were enveloped by that power. The great emperor was really too powerful. It was unimaginable. The 2 great emperors fought from the sky to the ground and then from the ground to the clouds. The battle between the divine fire and immortal chi was very terrifying. However, everyone could see that the green-robed great emperor was at a disadvantage. The green-robed great emperor was screaming in anger. This shocked the people of the other world, Heavenly King. The green-robed great emperor was being suppressed? It was unbelievable. On the Divine Union's side, the toad said, "Your Majesty just woke up and her power hasn't reached its peak. Otherwise, defeating this frog would be very easy. It would be too easy." The Crimson Dragon and the others were even more shocked. This was an existence that came out of the Heavenly Court. They didn't know how much more terrifying power the Heavenly Court had. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He looked behind him and saw the people who followed him. Their faces were covered in blood and their bodies were injured. Some families didn't even have half of their people left. He clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. "Everyone, I'll avenge you." After that, he turned around and drew his sword, roaring, "Follow me and kill!" He rushed out and attacked the Purple Mansion and the Otherworld Heavenly King. "Let's go." Murong Qingqing and the others followed. The Hellfire Dragon led the remaining black demons and rushed over. Kaiser Blood, Mandela, and the Boundary Emperors all took a deep breath when they saw this. They swore to follow Lin Gongzi to death. With their remaining strength, they also soared into the sky. In the distance, the people from the Monarch clans and the Chosen Immortal clan were all watching the battle between the 2 great emperors. Although they couldn't see clearly, this was a once-in-a-lifetime battle. Who had seen 2 great emperors? The Purple Mansion realm and the Permethar realm were also nervous as they watched the green-robed great emperor's battle. It was about what they were going to do next. Suddenly, they saw a flash of light. A beam of sword chi slashed down from the sky. In an instant, dozens of experts in the immortal sword were sent flying. Then he threw out another punch. Flames surged into the sky, sending dozens of experts of the 10,000 sabers sect flying. "Damn it, Lin Wudi." When the Purple Mansion's Mansion Master saw this scene, he shouted angrily. The other party actually dared to attack. The experts from the Nirvana realm were furious as well. This was especially true for the Myriad Saber Old Ancestor and the White Robe Old Ancestor. "You still dare to be impudent in front of me? Do you think that without the green-robed Great Emperor, we can't do anything to you? Kill!" They quickly took action. The White Robe Old Ancestor shot out a monstrous sword light that swept through the 9 heavens. Lin Xian's chi and blood surged, and his 9-yang divine body was penetrated. However, he waved his hand and a black vortex enveloped him. The power of the devouring heaven jar protected him. Previously, they had used up most of their strength in the battle against Lin Xian. However, they still had some left. Now that he was facing the white robe old ancestor, Lin Xian directly used it. Indeed, he wouldn't show mercy to his opponent. The devouring heaven jar was thrown out, and the black vortex suddenly exploded. Lin Xian's body was split open with sword qi. However, he couldn't care less about anything. Seeing this scene, the white robe old ancestor's expression changed. He turned around and left. A pair of sword qi wings on his back turned into white wings and danced wildly. His speed was extremely fast. However, the devouring heaven jar was even more terrifying. This time, Lin Xian also used a lot of power, causing some of the trees on the ship to stop growing. This time, the devouring heaven jar engulfed the white robe old ancestor. Not only that, but the 10,000 powerhouses in the Immortal Sword sect were also engulfed. Their faces were filled with despair. Those who kill the disciples of the Divine Union will be killed without mercy. Lin Xian's cold voice rang out. The devouring heaven jar fell heavily. Miserable cries rang out. It was like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. The black vortex kept reaping. The 10,000 powerhouses in the Immortal Sword sect couldn't resist at all. The white robe old ancestor's wings also shattered. He was enveloped by the black vortex, and half of his body instantly disappeared. No matter how strong he wasn't a match for an extreme grade weapon. No, you can't kill me. The Green Robe Emperor is nearby. If you kill me, you'll die too. Lin Xian sneered, unmoved. One day, I'll make the Green Robe Emperor accompany you in hell. I swear. With that, the devouring heaven jar shone again. The white robe old ancestor had fallen. The 8 Crown King had been torn to pieces. The 10,000 powerhouses of the Immortal Sword sect were also killed by the devouring heaven jar. Blood rained down from the sky, and the broken corpses scattered all over the ground. It turned into a hell. Everyone looked at this scene in horror. The power of an extreme grade weapon was really too strong. Although Lin Xian had been suppressed by the Green Robe Emperor previously, other than the Emperor, who could block the attack of an extreme grade weapon. Boom! Lin Xian landed, and the devouring heaven jar was kept by him. His face was pale, and his body was trembling. This time, he didn't have any strength left. Using an extreme grade weapon again had consumed too much energy. However, he had killed the 8 Crown King in one move, and the 10,000 powerhouses of the Immortal Sword sect. The effect was absolutely shocking. He looked at the Blood Descendants and said, "I've taken revenge for you, Lord Lin's son." The eyes of the Blood Ancestor and the others turned red. They were both frightened and grateful. At this time, the Soul Emperor's power attacked Lin Xian. This was Lin Xian's punishment for using an extreme grade weapon. Yan Ruyu had been waiting for a long time. She opened the Green Lotus and protected Lin Xian and the others, withstanding the attack. She spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Xian quickly injected her with a heavenly spring of life to recover her body. Then he also swallowed the spirit fruit in the sword world to quickly recover his strength. At the same time he said, "Qing Cheng, destroy the 10,000 Sabers sect." Qing Cheng formed a seal, and the phantom of the 7-colored phoenix appeared. The dozens of storage rings on her body shattered. At the same time, the Hellfire Dragon urged the Black Demon race and the remaining people in the Killing Soul sect. They gave all their power to the Desolate Tower. The Desolate Tower enlarged, suppressing heaven and earth, and attacked the 10,000 Saber sect and the people of the 10,000 Saber sect. No, the 10,000 Sabers sect turned and fled. After seeing the whereabouts of the White Robe Ancestor and the Immortal Sword sect, he didn't dare to resist. However, the Desolate Tower was also an extreme grade weapon. With one attack, it suppressed the 10,000 sabers of the 10,000 Sabers sect, another powerful sect in the depths of the deity ground. Here they turned into ashes. Yan Ryu used the green lotus to help Qin Cheng block the Soul Emperor's punishment. Lin Xian looked into the distance and said coldly, "It's not over yet. One day, I will kill my way into the depths of the deity ground and completely destroy the Immortal Sword Sect and the 10,000 Saber Sect." His cold voice made the scalps of the surrounding chosen immortal clan tingle. He was really a killing god. Chapter 57:23. Lin Xian waved his hand and summoned Qing Qing, Ruyu, and the Crimson Dragon. They were all brought into the sword world. Then they absorbed the power of heaven and earth and the power of the divine fist to recover quickly. Before long, they walked out again. At this moment, they had recovered most of their strength. The sword world was too magical. It surprised Qing Qing and the others. What kind of world was this? Why did it feel more mysterious than the deity ground? After Lin Xian and the others recovered, they still strode forward and charged toward the Z Mansion. The people of the Z Mansion were stunned. Damn it, wasn't he powerless? How did he recover? The Mansion Lord of the Z Mansion also had an ugly expression. What other treasures did Lin Wuti have? To be able to heal his seriously injured body so quickly. Although he had not reached the peak, he had already given her a huge threat. "No, Senior of the Nirvana realm, please save me." At this moment, the 10,000 Saber Ancestor and the White-Robed Ancestor were dead. However, these 8 Crown Kings were also in a very miserable state. Everyone was injured, and none of them were unharmed. The 2 extreme attacks just now were not enough. Not only were 2 8 Crown Kings dead, but a group of 7 Crown Kings from the Nirvana realm had also fallen. The other 8 Crown Kings fled very quickly. However, they were still seriously injured. Everyone was seriously injured, and now they could not use half of their strength. The Mansion Lord of the Z Mansion was afraid and quickly took out the dragon pattern cauldron to defend. At the same time, she called out, "Green-robed Ancestor, save me. Please save my life. My father will thank you." Far above the 9 clouds, the green-robed Ancestor, who was fighting, felt the fall of the Nirvana realm powerhouses below. He was also crazy. A small ant dared to attack the Nirvana realm. At this moment, he threw out a ball of green energy, which turned into poisonous gas that covered the sky and enveloped Lin Xian. However, halfway, he was blocked by the Empress. At the same time, the Empress's cold voice sounded, "Green-robed Ancestor, fight for me. How dare you use such a despicable method? Do you want to die? Also, do you think I won't?" As she spoke, a jade-like hand attacked the Z Mansion. At this moment, the divine fire on the palms of the gods was extremely terrifying and fell. No, the injured 8 Crown Kings from the Higan Riverbank Pagoda were going crazy. They glared at Z Ruo, wishing they could crush her. This palm even enveloped them. "Run." The injured 8 Crown King quickly fled. However, before he could even take to the air, he was pierced by the divine fire and his soul was destroyed. In the blink of an eye, the injured 8 Crown Kings had fallen. The people of the Z government also let out miserable shrieks as they were hit by the palm. Nobody could block the palm of the great emperor. The Purple Mansion Lord entered the dragon pattern cauldron. Long Wending was beaten into a pulp. Her body split open and turned into a sea of blood. His soul had also been severely damaged. She screamed crazily. This time, she finally experienced the danger that Lin Xian and the others had faced. Even if one had an extreme weapon, they wouldn't be able to block the attack of a great emperor. Not to mention, she didn't have as many trump cards as Lin Xian. It was already extremely fortunate that he was still alive. You actually didn't die? You're ZG's daughter, right? The Empress sensed Z Ruo's aura and her face darkened. She still wanted to attack. However, the green-robed great emperor rushed forward. "I'm your opponent. The losses this time were too great. How was he going to explain it when he returned? Was she injured? Lin Xian raised his sword and rushed forward, wanting to kill Zirua once and for all. Zirua controlled the dragon pattern cauldron and kept fleeing. Murong Qingcheng, Yan Ruyu, and the others were also attacking her from all sides. They were about to fall into despair. However, at this moment, something strange happened again. Roar! A huge creature rushed over and blocked the attacks of Yan Ruyu and the others. The sky was filled with frost and terrifying lightning. There was also a storm that swept over. Yan Ruyu and the others were also shocked by the impact. Lin Xian shouted coldly, "Nothing can stop me." The phantom of the demon emperor appeared behind him. He punched through the huge creature with a single punch. Miserable shrieks rang out as the creature was smashed into pieces. However, it quickly reassembled and recovered. "Despicable brat, it's you." There was a crazy roar. Lin Xian looked forward and frowned. "It's you." He also recognized that this huge creature was none other than the Cerberus. He had met it at the Broken Soul Cliff before. But why was it here? The two sides confronted each other. Zirua was also stunned. I was saved by the Cerberus. However, at this moment, a figure walked out and said in a deep voice, "Don't worry, I'll save you. You're ZG's daughter. He'll thank me for saving you." "You know my father?" Zirua exclaimed. She felt that she had found hope. Lin Xian frowned. "Who else is there? Get out of here." Demonic qi exploded. The monstrous demonic qi engulfed Lin Xian. Although he had the jade pendant on him, at this moment he couldn't care less. He seemed to have turned into a demon god. The demonic qi surged. Who dared to interfere with his business at this moment? In front of him, a young man in a battle robe walked over. He had a delicate face. However, his actions were very strange. It was because he was carrying something, an ancient coffin, an ancient bronze coffin. Moreover, it had 3 layers. It was very strange. Seeing this scene, the people from the great emperor families and the chosen immortals clan frowned. They felt uneasy. Yan Ruyu, Qingqing, and the others also frowned. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. Did this thing come out too? He and Shen Jingqiu had fought against the ancient bronze coffin together. Shen Jingqiu even got a piece of jade from it. He didn't expect that someone would bring the 3 lives coffin out. Who is he? Is he also from the other world, Heavenly King? Who are you? Lin Xian pointed his sword forward. The young man with the 3 lives coffin smiled. "Listen, my name is Xiao Xian. I'm from the other world, Heavenly King." As expected, Lin Xian stabbed with his sword like a peerless god of death. The Shura sword technique stabbed in. He attacked 5 times in a row. Xiao Xian's body shook, and the 3 lives coffin on his back acted as a shield. Clanking sounds were heard, and flames danced. The Shura sword hit the 3 lives coffin. All of them were sent flying. Xiao Xian's body shook, and he turned around again. "What a fierce sword technique. You're very powerful. I didn't expect there to be such a talent from the other world, Heavenly King." "Humph!" Lin Xian snorted. Since he was from the other world, Heavenly King, he wouldn't let him go. The demon god seal flew out. At the same time, the great destruction spear in his hand flew out and stabbed forward. All kinds of divine powers were used. Xiao Xian appeared and disappeared mysteriously. He blocked all the attacks with the 3 lives coffin on his back. Then he said, "You're very interesting. You're worthy of being my opponent. But now I don't have time to deal with you." As he spoke, he threw the ancient coffin heavily onto the ground. Then he opened the first layer of the coffin with his right hand. There was a pale corpse sleeping in it. Xiao Xian clapped his hand on the 3 lives coffin. Immortal technique, 3 lives fate. As his voice fell, the 24 pitch-black ancient coffins in the surroundings also began to shake. Then The energy on them quickly gathered. That black eyeball, it instantly flew into the 3 Lives coffin. Chapter 57:24. Looking at this scene, everyone was stunned. Even Lin Xian's pupils contracted. Just a moment ago, he had sensed a mysterious aura emitting from the 3 Lives coffin. It was something he had never felt before. This energy was so terrifying that it surprised him. When he wanted to attack again, it was already too late. The black eye had already flown into the coffin. However, Lin Xian still attacked with his sword. This sword strike struck the 3 Lives casket and knocked it back. Xiao Xian broke through the void with the 3 Lives coffin and retreated far away. His eyes shone with cold light. "Kid, what's your name?" "Lin Wudi." "Give me the hell path." "Lin Wudi? What an arrogant name. I'll remember you. You're a very powerful opponent. However, today is not a good day to fight. After I complete my mission, I'll find you and fight you myself." Xiao Xian's voice rang out. Then the ground under his feet began to crack, forming a swamp and swallowing him up. At the same time, he sank with him, and the 3 Lives coffin. "Do you want to leave?" Lin Xian frowned. With a wave of his hand, countless strands of Qingquan sword qi flew out. The Cosmos Sword Array. Lin Xian formed the array with his mind and charged toward the sky. However, Xiao Xian was extremely strange. He had actually disappeared. Only the ground shattered and countless cracks appeared. Did he leave? Lin Xian frowned. He used his Rinnegan and found that he couldn't sense the energy of the Hell Path. The Crimson Dragon also flew over and said, "Kid, I can't sense that guy. He didn't leave through the array." It was a wonderful immortal spell. To think that the Hagen Heavenly King also had such a top-notch genius. This surprised Lin Xian. This time, Xiao Xian suddenly appeared with the 3 Lives coffin and took the Hell Path. This wasn't good news. At the same time, he looked up into the distance. He didn't know what was going on with the Empress. How was it? As the Purgatory Path disappeared, the corpse puppets in the surroundings all fell to the ground. Now that there were no more threats around them, the others heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, the green-robed Great Emperor was stunned when he saw Xiao Xian. Then, when he saw what happened, he was relieved. That way, then, he would be able to fight with all his might. The Empress was also surprised. Had the 3 Lives coffin and the Hell Path been taken away? She harumphed coldly. With a wave of her hand, she took out a jade rui and aimed it at the green-robed martial monarch. The green-robed Great Emperor's face turned green. "Why do you have this thing?" He roared at the sky and unleashed a peerless immortal technique. Green Shadow Immortal Track. The green immortal chi on its enormous body suddenly burst out and turned into countless shadows charging at Qin Nan. This was the power of a great emperor. It was as if the sky was pressing down on him. The Empress raised the jade scepter in her hand and said softly, "Rui, Rui, break." Above the jade scepter, tens of thousands of rays of light bloomed, enveloping the heavens and realms. The green shadows that filled the sky were all pierced through. Amidst this, a miserable shriek rang out. The green-robed Great Emperor was also pierced through, and there was emperor blood dripping from his body. A drop of blood collapsed the heavens and realms, and a large number of saints and quasi-emperors below died. The entire deity ground was about to be pierced through. Damn it! The green-robed Great Emperor roared crazily. He leaped high and turned around to escape. "Just you wait. When I fully recover my body, I will fight you again." Under his feet, there was an endless gust of wind, and he instantly disappeared. The Empress didn't chase after him. She put away the jade rui. She said coldly he ran quite fast. She looked down again and frowned slightly. The Hell Path had disappeared. The young man just now was not simple. He even brought the 3 Lives coffin with him. Thinking of this, She swung her snake tail and turned to fly into the distance. Soon, she returned to the sole emperor's ancient tomb. The powerful emperor's throne swept in all directions. Everyone prostrated on the ground again. Greetings, great emperor. Even the people from the imperial clans all bowed, respectfully. Lin Xian and the others did the same. The empress looked over. The people on the other side had been dealt with. Only a few escaped, and she didn't care. You? Her gaze fell on Lin Xian with a trace of surprise. She felt that the young man in front of her had the power of the divine fire and the power of immortal energy. Want to walk the path of immortals? She was extremely surprised. The toad flew over and said, Empress, this is the kid I told you about. Greetings, senior. Lin Xian also cupped his fists respectfully. The empress nodded slightly and said, Young man, the path you are walking is extremely dangerous. Are you sure you want to continue? Lin Xian said, Senior, if you want to defeat the other side, you have to use an extreme method. So I plan to try this path. I don't dare to say that I will succeed, but as long as there is a glimmer of hope, I won't give up. Good. He was confident. The empress nodded. She turned around and looked into the depths of the ancient tomb. She felt the power of summoning. It seemed that the sole emperor's inheritance was about to come out. As she spoke, she flew forward. The divine bridge under her feet spread out, and the great Tao opened. Countless laws, all prostrated on it. Let's go, let's hurry up and follow. The toad and the others were extremely happy as they flew forward. Lin Xian and the others also followed. As for the others, they all had looks of envy on their faces. However, they didn't dare to move at all. Even the people of the Emperor clan shook their heads and sighed. But at this moment, the Empress in front of them said softly, The tomb of the Emperor is fated. You can all come over. The Gu family, Yi family, and the others were stunned. The next moment, they were ecstatic. Thank you, Senior. They hurriedly followed. Even the kneeling chosen immortal clan stood up, their faces full of excitement. This great emperor felt different. The previous green-robed great emperor was so domineering, and this great emperor actually allowed them to follow. The toad said unhappily, Empress, why did you let them come over and steal our good fortune? The Empress said these people were not from the otherworld heavenly king, so why not give them a chance? If one or two of them grew up in the future, perhaps they could become the power to resist the other side. Everyone was shocked. The Empress also said so. Yan Ryu asked, Senior, is the other side really that terrifying? The Empress glanced at Yan Ryu and said, You are the descendant of the Qing Emperor, right? The other side is very terrifying, so powerful that you can't imagine. The Lord of the Nirvana Shore was even more terrifying. Back then, many great emperors fell in his hands. After hearing this, everyone was even more shocked. The Lord of the Nirvana Shore, how powerful was he? The Empress said, However, in that battle, we attacked at all costs. He should have also been seriously injured. Now, I don't know if he has fully recovered. However, just half of his strength. It was already enough to make people tremble. So in dealing with the other side, we must not be careless. Lin Xian and the others took a deep breath. The toad asked curiously, Who is the Lord of the Nirvana Shore? Is he as powerful as you, Empress? There was disdain in his words. However, as soon as his voice fell, thunderclouds suddenly condensed in the sky, and terrifying thunder was about to fall. The toad was startled. Damn, what did I do? Chapter 57:25. Those thunderbolts, with an extremely strong aura of destruction, descended. The toad was startled. He couldn't resist it. The Empress waved her hand and shot out a ray of immortal energy, which shattered the thunderbolts in the sky. She said, The Lord of the Nirvana Shore controls heavenly punishment. Moreover, her strength is terrifying to the extreme. In this immortal land, you'd better not speak ill of her. Was she that terrifying? The toad was stunned. Can't I even speak ill of her? The Empress shook her head. You are too weak. If you reach my realm, you can scold her however you want. You can scold her however you want. Damn. The toad suddenly lost his temper. The great Emperor realm to him. That was extremely far away. The group talked as they walked and finally came to the front. In front of them there was a huge array. Azure dragon, fierce tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise. The 4 divine beasts circled around, forming a 4 divine beasts array. There were some places on the array that were dim. Obviously, the green-robed great emperor and the others had attacked them before. However, they didn't break it. What a terrifying array! After Lin Xian and the others arrived, they were also amazed. The other big families also took a deep breath. They felt that the soul suppression here was even more terrifying. Inside the array should be the Soul Emperor's ancient coffin. Countless people looked into the distance. The light of reincarnation in Lin Xian's eyes also bloomed. He did see that there was an ancient coffin floating there. The soul aura on it. Even his Rinnegan felt frightened. That was the aura of the great emperor. Senior, do you want to break this array? Lin Xian asked. The Empress also said, we do need to break it, but we are waiting for someone. Waiting for who? Everyone was stunned. The Empress waved her hand. Her divine fire passed through the void. It disappeared. In another space, the daughter of the Soul Emperor felt this aura and her complexion changed. However, when she felt the aura of Lin Xian and the others, her brows twitched. She followed the immortal energy and rushed out. You are here too? The Soul Emperor's daughter, Han Qianchan, looked at Lin Xian and said quickly. Lin Xian was also surprised. You are here too. This is your father's tomb, right? Han Qianchan nodded. That's right. After saying this, she looked at the Empress and respectfully clasped her hands together. Greetings, Senior. The Empress said, with your bloodline and my divine fire, you can open the 4 divine beasts array. Next, the 2 worked together, and the 4 divine beasts formation shook violently. Then a passage. Everyone walked in. Of course, the people of course, a few, the reason for that was because the others were simply unable to withstand the oppressive might of their souls. The great emperor of the great Emperor Zesla's time, in the Dragon Emperor's tomb, they did not make it to the end. Of them, someone was unwilling to give up. Gritting his teeth, he activated his powerful aura to form a defensive barrier before walking in. However, even with this being the case, not all of the imperial clans were allowed to enter. Only the elites of the imperial clans were allowed to enter. The other members of the emperor clans still had to wait outside. You can also wait outside. Lin Xian only brought a few people in. He released the aura of the sky-swallowing jar and let it float beside him. Han Qianchan looked forward, her eyes red. Father. She walked forward. The ancient coffin in front of her felt her bloodline and let out a rumbling sound. In the next moment, a phantom appeared. Daughter, you are here. It was a majestic figure in the form of a soul. It was a trace of the Soul Emperor's soul mark. He seemed to be waiting for soul traction. When he saw his daughter, he smiled with relief. However, in the next moment, his expression changed as he stared at the Empress. It was the aura of a great emperor. He didn't expect a great emperor to come to his ancient coffin. How could he not be shocked? The Empress said, Don't worry, I'm not from the Nirvana realm. I won't be overbearing and snatch your things. Give whatever inheritance you have to your daughter. I'm just here to take a look. Hearing that she wasn't from the Nirvana realm, the Soul Emperor heaved a sigh of relief. In the next moment, he said, Daughter, I have an inheritance for you. This is my book of Soul Tao. An ancient book flew over. The material was very strange. It was covered with the Soul Emperor's immortal spells. After Han Qianchan got it, her eyes turned red and she shed tears. Father, are you really dead? The Soul Emperor said, "There are only some remnant souls left. This Book of Soul Tao is my inheritance. It is also an extreme weapon. It can protect your safety." Everyone was envious, but no one dared to make a move. Lin Xian was also surprised. The Book of Soul Tao was very similar to the previous Book of Heavenly Tao. However, their auras were different. Moreover, the Book of Heavenly Tao could seal the Nirvana realm. It must be even more terrifying. There is one more thing, the Soul Emperor said. Everyone was surprised. Besides the Soul Emperor's inheritance, there was another thing. What was it? They were even more curious. Even Han Qianshan was anxious. The Soul Mark waved his hand, and a crack appeared on the ancient coffin. A bone flew out from inside. That bone was very terrifying. As soon as it appeared, it crushed the 9 heavens and 10 lands, making countless people tremble. Even the Empress's expression changed. Flames erupted from her body, and there was an extremely terrifying divine fire dancing in her eyes. It could make a great emperor so nervous. One could imagine how terrifying this bone was. Whose bone was this? Who wanted to be resurrected? The Empress's voice was extremely cold. It was the Dizun. The Soul Emperor said in a deep voice, "I am responsible for guarding her hand bone. Now that my ancient tomb has been breached, it is not safe to stay here. If the people of the Nirvana realm come, they will take her away. So I hope you can take this bone away." The Dizun was him? The Empress frowned and said he was indeed unwilling to accept this. Lin Xian was even more shocked. The Dizun. He was no stranger to this name. He had heard of her. She was the person who founded the Yuhua immortal dynasty. He even saw a phantom of the Dizun. What did she want to do? Did she want to be resurrected? It was incredible. If you are not from the Nirvana realm, then you should be from the God realm. Although the Dizun is not one of you, she is also an enemy of the Nirvana realm. If she is resurrected, it will be very beneficial to you. So, I don't think you will refuse. I know. After the Empress took it, she immediately used her divine fire to seal the bone. But at the same time, she gave it to Lin Xian. She said, "Little guy, take it. If my guess is correct, you should be related to the people of the Yuhua immortal dynasty. Find a chance to give it to them. They will owe you a favor." Me. Lin Xian was stunned. Even the Soul Emperor's soul mark was stunned. When he looked at Lin Xian, he said, "You are too naive. He is just a 5-crown king. With such a cultivation base, I am afraid he can't keep this hand bone." The Empress said, "He is not an ordinary 5-crown king. He is our hope." After the Soul Emperor's soul mark heard this, he was completely stunned. The other party was their hope? This was too incredible. He looked at Lin Xian carefully, and then he was surprised. The aura of the Rinnegan, the 9-yang body, the great dragon sword, and a trace of monstrous demonic energy. This young man had so many secrets. What shocked him even more was that he felt an aura even more terrifying than these things. Chapter 57:26. Lin Xian's aura shocked him too much. It was as if he was facing Permitha. Could it be? He didn't think any further. However, he already knew that the young man in front of him was extremely extraordinary. Han Qianshan also said, "Father, Lin Gongzi is very powerful. He even gave me a treasure." "You know him?" The Soul Emperor was even more surprised. He said, "All right, young man, keep this hand bone first. You can't let Permitha take it away. Right? You're only a 5-crown king now. You're too weak. Let me help you." As the Soul Emperor spoke, he waved his hand and a vast strength appeared. At the same time, endless laws and immortal energy in the Soul Emperor's tomb rushed toward Lin Xian. It enveloped him, turning him into a cocoon of light. Boom, boom, boom. The immortal energy seed in Lin Xian's body erupted. The power of laws also increased. He broke through to 6-crown king. What a strong power. Lin Xian felt that his overall strength had increased several times. His Rinnegan also seemed to have become stronger. "Thank you, Senior." Lin Xian was overjoyed. The Soul Emperor's mark nodded. Its light began to dim. "All right, you can leave. Daughter, you should leave too. I don't have much strength left. It won't be long before the people of Permitha arrive. Perhaps my coffin will be torn apart by them." He laughed bitterly. "Father!" Han Qianqian cried again. Permitha was too arrogant. The Empress frowned. She said, "I'll help you. I'll take your coffin away. I'll send it to a place where Permitha can't find you. Perhaps one day you can reappear in this world." "Really?" The Empress pointed at Lin Xian. She hoped that the real reincarnation sword would appear on him. The Soul Emperor sighed. "I feel that the hell path is gone. Otherwise, I could give it to you." Lin Xian said, "It was taken by Permitha." The Soul Emperor's complexion changed. "What a pity. In the past, I obtained a portion of Little Six-Path strength. He condensed the Hell Tao and wanted to go to the 9 underworlds, but he failed in the end. Now that the Otherworld Heavenly King had obtained it, they would definitely seize the 9th underworld. You have to be careful about that. However, this is the Hell's Writ that I obtained back then. There is also a portion of the Hell Path's aura on it. I'll give it to you. Perhaps it will be useful." He handed the Infernal Order to Lin Xian. After Lin Xian received it, he could indeed sense the power of the Path of Hell from it. The Soul Emperor said, "Thank you for your trouble, fellow Taoist. I hope that one day I can be resurrected and fight the world again." His soul slowly entered the ancient coffin. The Empress waved her sleeve and shot out a divine flame, which formed a divine flame gate. It shrouded the other party in the ancient coffin. Then he said, "Higgin, you won't let this go. Let's go." Although there were still some hidden treasures in the Soul Emperor's tomb, they were still there. But with the disappearance of the Soul Emperor's coffin, everything was sealed. No one would be able to seize it. With a wave of her hand, the Empress brought all of them out. In the next moment, the Soul Emperor's tomb closed again. Han Qianqian looked lonely. Lin Xian said, "Don't worry, if I can really condense the reincarnation sword again, I will let your father reappear in this world." "Thank you, Lin Gongzi. If you need me, I will help you." Han Qianqian gave Lin Xian the soul bell. When she was needed, Han Qianqian would appear. Then she left. "Empress, where are we going next?" The toad asked. The Empress looked into the distance and said, "I'm going to take a walk in this deity ground. You don't have to follow me." Lotus flowers bloomed under her feet, and divine flames filled the sky. She turned into a stream of light and disappeared. "Empress." The toad knelt on the ground and kept prostrating, "Farewell, Empress." The others all saluted and saw the great emperor off. "Young man, get ready. Next, you may need to go to hell." The Empress's voice rang in Lin Xian's ears. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. Hell! He had indeed been there before. However, what was the 9 Serenities place that the other party had mentioned? He wanted to ask, but he found that the Empress had disappeared. "Let's go." Lin Xian took a deep breath and led the members of the Divine Union away quickly. The other families could only leave. This time, everyone had suffered heavy losses. However, they had also gained something. Even if they didn't get any treasures, they had walked around the great emperor's tomb. The pressure of the great emperor could also temper them and give them new insights. Therefore, some quasi-emperor powerhouses were preparing to go into seclusion to see if they could take the opportunity to break through. The Empress was right. The green-robed great emperor had made a comeback. He was unwilling to accept this. Although he had been injured by the Empress last time, he had returned not long after. He tore open the great emperor's tomb and killed his way in. However, he found that the Soul Emperor's ancient coffin had disappeared. He roared in anger, shattering all of the mountains in the surrounding space. The Soul Emperor's ancient tomb was also shattered by him. Damn it, damn it. The green-robed great emperor roared crazily. He had failed the mission this time. If he went back, he would definitely be punished. No, the green-robed great emperor didn't dare to be punished. He had to redeem himself. Suddenly he remembered something. The hell path was in the hands of that kid. He turned into a stream of light and left. At the same time, the great emperor's soul covered the sky and began to search. At this moment, the people of the immortal soul realm trembled in fear and prostrated on the ground. Lin Xian was the same, as if he was facing a great enemy. He directly entered the sword world, because he felt the aura of the green-robed great emperor. The other party had returned. Moreover, the soul spread out, obviously looking for someone. Was he looking for him? He didn't know. Therefore, he hid in the sword world and hid. While consolidating his realm, he continued to send out clones to the sword world to dig for treasures. Last time, he had dug out the universe ring. He didn't know what he would be able to dig out this time. The green-robed great emperor's soul appeared several times. Every time, it crushed the heavens and shattered the sky. On the third time, the green-robed great emperor finally found it. His huge body leaped high into the air. He came to the broken soul cliff, and it was the abyss below. He said in a deep voice, "Stop hiding, get out here." "Greetings, green-robed senior." A young man walked out. It was Xiao Xian. He said, "Senior, why are you looking for me?" "Humph, kid, hand over the hell path. Also, give me the 3 lives coffin." Xiao Xian frowned and said, "Senior, I got all these." "Do you want to steal my credit?" "Don't worry, I won't steal your credit. When I meet the Lord, I will mention your name." "What? Don't you believe me?" Immortal qi spread out from the green-robed great emperor's body. Xiao Xian immediately retreated and spat out a mouthful of blood. He didn't dare. Xiao Xian gritted his teeth and his eyes turned red. "My Xian clan also has a great emperor." "Really? Where?" The green-robed great emperor sneered. "If it weren't for the fact that you are also a member of the Nirvana realm, you would have died 10,000 times by now. What are you unhappy about?" Chapter 57:27. Fine, I'll give it to you. Xiao Xian gritted his teeth and took out the 3 lives coffin. The hell path was also in it. The green-robed great emperor took it and smiled. "Don't worry, I'll remember your contribution. However, if you dare to tell anyone about what happened today, you know what will happen." As soon as he finished speaking, he leaped high into the air, tore apart the sky, and vanished. "Damn it! I'll teach you a lesson when I become a Dharch." Xiao Xian roared in his heart. He would have made a great contribution if he found those 2 things and returned to the other side. By then he would be able to obtain all kinds of incredible treasures. Then the time it would take him to become a Dharch would be greatly shortened. However, the green-robed great emperor had taken them away. He was unwilling to accept it, but there was nothing he could do. "Come with me." Xiao Xian turned around and said to the Cerberus. The Cerberus had no choice but to lie down and become Xiao Xian's mount. With a sway of his body, he disappeared as well. On this day, the powerhouses in the depths of the deity ground were shocked. That was because they sensed the aura of 2 thearchs. The aura of one of the great emperors was extremely faint. It only appeared for a moment and then disappeared. However, some powerhouses of the families still sensed it. They were extremely shocked. The figure was none other than the Empress. She strolled in the deity ground and walked through every corner, feeling very emotional. Then, a cold light burst out of her eyes. She came to the depths of the deity ground, an extremely mysterious and terrifying place. It was extremely quiet. No one came here. There were only the vicissitudes of the land and terrifying forests. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from the mysterious place in front of her, and all kinds of terrifying laws shot into the sky. That power was extremely terrifying. Is it the heavenly land? The Empress took a step forward and entered the mysterious place. At the same time, a pressure like the heavenly land surged over. An armor appeared on the Empress's body to block it. A rumbling sound was heard. At the same time, a loud voice came from the depths of the heavenly land. "Who's there?" At the same time, a terrifying aura spread out. Then, a fist pierced through the sky and flew over. The Empress dodged the attack and said, "It's me." Buzz. The sky disappeared, and a stalwart man walked out. The man was incomparably shocked. "You've awakened." The Empress said, "Lin Zhan, you guys are indeed attacking the celestial land." Lin Zhan said, "Now that Bayan is being held back, this is our best chance. We must take down 2 cities. At the other side, Green Robe, on the other hand, returned to the other side. Why did you come back by yourself?" The Purple Robe ZG was also surprised to see the green-robed Great Emperor return. "It's a long story. I want to see the Lord." Green-robed Great Emperor said. ZG was also stunned. Could it be that something had happened? "I'll tell you when I get back." The green-robed Great Emperor hurriedly flew towards the depths of the other shore. Finally, he arrived at a fairyland-like place. He stopped, clasped his fists, and asked to see the master. Within the immortal realm, 2 boys flew out. They were like immortal children. Just you wait. Their voices were cold. However, the green-robed emperor was not angry at all. This was too inconceivable. He was a great emperor, a high and mighty existence. But at this moment, when facing the 2 children, he seemed to be in awe, which was really shocking. Not long after one of the immortal children left, he returned and said, "You can go in now. You only have half an incense. Sticks time." The green-robed Great Emperor took a deep breath, and a look of excitement appeared in his eyes. Even though he was a great emperor, it was not easy to see the Lord. After all, the Lord was still in the process of recovering. His body swayed and he walked in. The boy in front led the way. The green-robed Great Emperor did not dare to be presumptuous. If he took a wrong step here, he would be doomed eternally. They had arrived. The boy in front stopped, and then his body swayed and he disappeared. The green-robed Great Emperor bowed respectfully, greeting the Lord. In front, clouds were everywhere, and within the clouds a figure appeared. He seemed to have been standing there since the opening of the sky. Although his figure was blurry, his aura was really too terrifying. Even the green-robed Great Emperor felt his hair stand on end. Even as a martial monarch, he was terrified. One could only imagine how terrifying their master was. The green-robed Great Emperor looked extremely respectful. The person in front was the Lord of the Nirvana shore. He was the King of Emperors. He was a transcendent existence that could sweep through the ages and step on the myriad worlds. He was ranked first on the Great Emperor rankings. No one could defeat him, whether it was in the past or in the future. "What is it?" The figure in front emitted a thunderous voice. The green-robed Great Emperor was even more respectful. He said, reporting to the Lord, "There is a result for the Soul Emperor's tomb." He quickly reported, "Although I failed in the Soul Emperor's tomb, I still obtained some harvests. I obtained the Hell Path, and I also found a 3 lives coffin. 3 lives coffin, then I can make up for my mistakes. Present it to the Lord." A loud voice sounded out. The green-robed Great Emperor let out a breath of relief. This time he had entered the Soul Emperor's tomb without any harvests. He should have been punished, but because of the 3 lives coffin, he might be able to make up for his mistakes. This was also why he had tried to forcefully seize it before. With a wave of his hand, the 3 lives coffin appeared and floated into the sky. In front of him, the mysterious and imposing figure waved his hand. The 3 lives coffin opened, and a black eyeball flew out from within. It carried with it an aura as cold as hell. The hell path of the lesser six paths? Very good. With it, we can attack the 9 Netherlands. Tai-Dai nodded. The green-robed great emperor also let out a sigh of relief. This was great. Not only would he not be punished, but he might even be rewarded. 3 lives coffin, let me see which one it is. Tai-Dai waved his sleeve, and the 3 lives coffin opened completely. The corpse inside appeared. So it was him. Tai-Dai said. Suddenly, the corpse at the bottom of the pile opened its eyes. Its eyes were filled with terrifying demonic chi. A demonic shadow rushed out and attacked the corpse. Bang! Demonic energy surged, tearing through the 9 heavens and turning into a demonic seal. This sudden change caused the green-robed great emperor to go crazy. Damn it! How could there be demonic energy? How could it attack the Lord? He roared in horror. At this time, Tai-Dai coldly snorted. He stretched out a finger and gently pointed forward. A light flashed, and the entire sky was split in half. Half turned into night, and the other half turned into eternity. With a finger, the demonic energy phantom shattered. Roar! Only a crazy roar could be heard. Tai-Dai coldly said, Demon Emperor, you've been dead for so many years, and you're still unwilling? You want to hurt me with just the likes of you? How ridiculous! As the voice sounded, the shattered sky was restored again. The sun and moon rotated, and the stars changed as if nothing had happened. This method was shocking. The green-robed great emperor was completely stunned. That demonic energy belonged to the demon emperor. Back then, the demon emperor was a lunatic. Wasn't he already dead? How could he have set up a trap in the 3 lives coffin? Damn it, was Xiao Xian tricking him? He was going crazy with anger. At this time, Tai-Dai's gaze darkened. Green-robed great emperor, how dare you collude with the demon emperor? The green-robed great emperor was so scared that his body trembled, and he directly knelt on the ground. No, Lord, listen to me, it's not like that. I don't know why the 3 lives coffin has the power of the demon emperor. Humph. Tai-Dai coldly snorted, and his eyes turned into the sun and moon, slashing over. The green-robed great emperor's body shattered into pieces again. He was about to faint from the pain, but he didn't dare to scream. His body knelt down in the air again. My lord, I'm willing to be punished. Please calm down. A dignified great emperor didn't even have the slightest temper in front of his lord. Chapter 57:28. The green-robed great emperor knew how terrifying Grand Supreme was. Therefore, he didn't dare to resist at all. He could only kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. Master, please give me another chance. I'm willing to atone for my sins. All right, I'll give you another chance. Since you've already obtained the hell path, let's head to hell. Let's see if there's a chance to enter the 9 underworlds. Yes, I understand. I'll go now. Master, don't worry. I won't let you down this time. The green-robed great emperor left quickly. He only heaved a sigh of relief after leaving the immortal land. In the next instant, he clenched his fists. There was a black eyeball floating in front of him. It was the hell path. This time he would bring people to hell. He couldn't afford to make any mistakes. Although the green-robed great emperor left, Grand Supreme didn't disappear. He shouted coldly, "Where's Ice Empress?" In the next instant, a woman surrounded by frost walked over. She bowed respectfully. "Greetings, Master." "Master, what are your orders?" Grand Supreme said, "The green-robed great emperor has already gone to prepare for the 9 underworlds. However, I'm guessing that those people from the deity plane haven't given up. They might have gone to the heavens. Go and check it out." "Yes." Ice Empress left quickly after receiving the order. In the sky, Grand Supreme's eyes flashed. His eyes were like the sun and the moon. He said coldly, "Didn't you all die in the previous reincarnation war? So what? No matter how many tricks you have, only I will never die." The clouds rolled and shrouded him. However, his cold voice was enough to make anyone's scalp go numb. The high heavens was a mysterious place. It was hard to see anyone in this place. However, there was an ancient city standing in this desolate place. The ancient city was built entirely with rocks. It was extremely spacious and mysterious at the same time. What was it? There were few figures outside the ancient city. Among them were Lin Zhan and the Empress. After hearing what the Empress said, Lin Zhan and the others also frowned. Did they obtain the hell path of the lesser six paths? It seemed like they were going to the 9 underworlds. Should we send people there? Lord Alcohol said. However, Lin Zhan shook his head. No, let's attack this ancient city with all our might now. Our goal is the heavenly land. At this point, if they were to send more forces to the 9 underworlds, they would not be able to obtain anything in the end. The Empress also frowned. However, she couldn't ignore the 9 serenities. If the 9th Netherland falls into the hands of the Nirvana realm, we will have no chance of winning. Lord Alcohol also said, although I can't get the 9th underworld, I can't let Nirvana have it either. Right now, the Book of Heaven's Path could still be used as a seal. Therefore, the Otherworld Heavenly King wouldn't send too many people to the 9th Serenity. There were at most 1 or 2 great emperors, so there was still a chance. Lin Zhan thought for a while and said, let Xin go. He had a Rinnegan. Lord Alcohol also said, that little guy? However, he still had to give him some trump cards. The current hell was no longer the same as before. There were definitely a few Emperor-level characters who had awakened. Bring our presents and find someone to cooperate with. Perhaps we can stop Higgin. All right, I'll go look for little Xian right away. Lin Zhan nodded and soared into the air. The Empress said, then I'll take his place and attack this ancient city first. Let's attack and try to take down an ancient city first. Lord Alcohol and the others quickly attacked the mysterious city in front of them. However, the mysterious city was too terrifying. Its primordial aura swept through everything. It seemed that the attacks of the great emperors didn't have much effect on it. On the other side, after Lin Xian and the others left the Soul Emperor's ancient tomb, they didn't completely leave the immortal soul realm. Instead, they found a place to wait quietly for the time being. Everyone went into seclusion to cultivate and consolidate their realms. Lin Xian was also in the Sword World, consolidating his 6 Crown King realm while cultivating his heaven-defying art. On this day, he felt a familiar aura descend. It was his father's aura. Lin Xian instantly rushed out of the Sword World. In the next moment, Lin Zhan's figure descended. However, he took Lin Xian away. They arrived in an independent space. Lin Zhan said, this is a space that I opened up. Our conversation here won't be heard by others. Lin Xian was surprised. Father, aren't you in the depths of the deity ground? Why are you back? Could it be that something went wrong? Lin Zhan said, I already know what happened here. The hell Tao appeared and was obtained by the Nirvana realm. I'm afraid they will go to hell and seize the 9 underworlds. Go to hell now and stop them. What is the 9 underworlds? Father, what are you doing? Lin Xian was extremely puzzled. Lin Zhan said, Xian, it's time to let you know something. Heaven and earth are black and yellow. The universe is desolate. This universe was very magical. It had thousands of worlds, including the burial earth and the origin planet. However, this wasn't the most magical thing. Is the deity ground the most magical thing? Lin Xian said. Lin Zhan shook his head. Deity ground is just a saying from the Nirvana realm. The Nirvana realm's master cultivated the immortal Tao. He wanted to control the entire universe. Therefore, he called that land the deity ground. Over the years, more and more people called it the deity ground. Just think of it as the deity ground. In the deity ground, there were a few places that were very magical. For example, The place where the Nirvana realm was located was called the Eternal Land. The entire Eternal Land was occupied by the Nirvana realm. The Nirvana realm's master was also known to be eternal and immortal. It was so terrifying. Lin Xian was completely stunned. The Nirvana realm's master is so powerful. Can such a person really be defeated? Lin Zhan's expression was cold. He said, "However, the Eternal Land is not the only magical place. We are attacking the Heavenly Land now. It is also very mysterious, and it has terrifying power. The 9 underworlds I mentioned is also the same." Lin Xian was surprised. Are these mysterious places forbidden lands? Lin Zhan shook his head. No, the forbidden lands are just spaces created by the supreme beings of the human world. It's not that magical. The Eternal Land, the Heavenly Land, and the 9 underworlds, they belong to the Jiutian City. The Jiutian City is the most terrifying and mysterious power in the universe. However, legend has it that the Jiutian City has surpassed this universe. Even the Nirvana realm's master can't reach it. In the universe, only the 10 lands exist. The Eternal Land, the Heavenly Land, and the 9 underworlds are all existences in the 10 lands. Other than that, there are others. The world in your body is also one of the 10 lands. What is it? Lin Xian was shocked. He was too surprised. Originally, he thought that although the deity ground had descended, it was very mysterious. However, Lin Xian felt that the god realm in his body was even more mysterious than the deity ground. I see. It's one of the 10 lands. Lin Zhan said, previously the people of the divine path also had a continent. It was as vast as the deity ground. It was called the god realm. However, in the battle with the Nirvana realm, the god realm was shattered. Chapter 57:29. No wonder. The small world in Lin Xian's body used to be desolate and lifeless. Was it because it was damaged in the battle? Lin Zhan said, "The divine realm is bigger than the small world in your body. However, the space within your body was the core of the god domain back then. It's equivalent to the Nirvana realm's position in the deity ground." What is it? Lin Xian was surprised. Which of the 10 lands is the sword world in my body? Lin Zhan said the ancient land. The ancient land? Lin Xian was stunned. This was the real name of this world. Lin Zhan said, "Actually, the people of the Nirvana realm don't know about the ancient land. They had thought that the ancient land had been destroyed in the battle back then. As a matter of fact, the ancient land of eternity was indeed severely damaged in the previous battle. However, it still survived. Now that it's in your hands, you must protect it well." Lin Xian said, "Father, don't worry. As long as I'm alive, I won't let the ancient land be taken away. I'm not worried about this. The people of the Nirvana realm probably won't be able to guess the mysteries of the ancient land. However, the most important thing now is the 9 underworlds. It's also one of the 10 lands. This time, we'll make a comeback and fight against others. The Nirvana realm will definitely kill us. They want to destroy us completely. The Nirvana realm's lord is even more ambitious. He wasn't willing to just have the Eternal Land. He wants to take over the other mysterious lands. The 9 underworlds might be his first target. Fortunately, we used the Book of Heavenly Tao to seal him. For the time being, they can only send out a small number of forces. This time, at most, there will be 2 great emperors going to the 9 underworlds. Maybe only 1. I'll let you go. You just have to stop them. Do some damage in the dark. Take this medallion. There are some grand emperors in the infernal realm who have awakened. Find one of them and cooperate with them." Lin Zhan instructed Lin Xian. Lin Xian was shocked. He didn't expect the Nirvana realm to have such a mysterious origin. Eternal land, undying and indestructible, an existence with eternal life? How terrifying was the Lord of the Nirvana shore. He felt the pressure, but there was also hope in his heart. This was because the sword world in his body was also an ancient land. They weren't any weaker than the eternal land. Father, where is the ninth underworld? Hell was very vast. Lin Jian had been there once before. However, at that time he had only gone to the 18th level of hell. Furthermore, after entering the first 3 floors, he didn't dare to proceed any further. Lin Jian said, "The 18th level of hell is the Netherland. However, that place is too terrifying. Before you become a martial emperor, it's best that you don't go there." There were 3 wordless heavenly steels in the 18 layers of hell. One of them was on the 17th layer of hell. Now that he thought about it, Higgin would not be able to get it either. You will obtain the other 2 wordless heavenly steels. If that was the case, even if Higgin had the Naraka path, she would not be able to enter for the time being. All right, Xian there's no time to lose. Hurry up and take action. There are still some things you don't understand. So I put some information about the infernal realm into the command medallion. You can just watch. I have to return to the heavenly land. This time, we must take down the heavenly land. Only then will we have the capital to fight against the Higgin. Lin Xian finally knew what Lin Jian, Lord Alcohol, and the others were doing in the depths of the deity ground. It turned out that they were attacking the heavenly land. He said, "Father, don't worry. I definitely won't let them succeed." Lin Jian nodded and removed the space. Then he left. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. He sent a voice transmission to Morong Qingqing, Yan Ruyu, the Crimson Dragon, and the others. He told them to continue staying in the deity ground. As for Lin Xian, he was going to go alone this time. After Morong Qingqing and the others received the news, they all came out of seclusion. "Brother Xian, are you really going alone?" Lin Xian nodded. "It's very dangerous. It's more convenient for me to go alone." The Crimson Dragon said, "Then I'll set up a super teleportation array for you." He began to move the earth scripture gold. A huge teleportation gate appeared. Lin Xian walked in and disappeared. Boom! The stars in the universe moved. After an unknown period of time, a spatial gate suddenly appeared in the darkness. Lin Xian walked out of it. At this moment, he had already left the deity ground. He looked up at the deity ground. It was very mysterious. In front of him was darkness. It was extremely dark, like the gate of hell. Lin Xian had been here before. However, the current hell was 100 times more terrifying than before. With the arrival of the deity ground, the entire universe seemed to have become more mysterious and stronger than before. Just in the other planets alone, there were already quasi-emperors. Hell was already very mysterious before. Now, it should be even more terrifying. Just as Lin Xian was about to go in, he found that a lot of auras suddenly rushed out of the gate of hell. It was extremely terrifying. Lin Xian frowned. He was worried that there would be some changes. Therefore, he sped up, turned into a sword light, and rushed in. As soon as he entered, Lin Xian could feel a powerful force sweeping toward him. When it hit his body, it emitted an earth-shaking aura. Lin Xian's 9-yang divine body was too obvious in hell. It was like the sun in the dark night. It attracted the attention of countless people. Therefore, he sighed. He had no choice but to use demonic qi. The monstrous demonic light formed a demonic armor. It enveloped him. At the same time, he dodged and avoided these attacks. These attacks were not aimed at him. In front of him, there was a great battle. Countless figures roared. Some of the white bone creatures were extremely terrifying. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws. There was a powerful aura on them. Among them, there was a white bone figure. It was very terrifying. His body was tens of thousands of meters long. As he danced, it was like a white bone spear. It pierced through everything. It was a dragon, and it was a bone dragon. Lin Xian was shocked. The aura of this bone dragon was at least that of the 8-crown king. It was extremely powerful. He didn't expect to find such a terrifying existence as soon as he came to hell. The huge bone dragon, along with the endless bone forest, continued to charge forward. On the other side, there were countless cold auras. Those were green hair on the bodies of some monsters. It was very strange. These monsters couldn't be seen clearly. However, when they attacked, they were incomparably cold. The leader was a red-haired man who also had the strength of the Eight-Crown King. Other than that, there was also a cold aura. These people were wearing armor, as if they were ghost soldiers. The huge team kept attacking the three sides, and their strength was increasing. Lin Xian used Rinnegan and saw the other party clearly. They were fighting for a lamp, an incomparably dark lamp. There were black flames on it that were jumping. The Death God lamp. Lin Xian didn't recognize it. While he was dodging, he heard the angry roars of some people. For example, those white bone creatures roared, "Follow me and charge for the Death God lamp." In addition, the ghost soldiers and red-haired men roared crazily. A great battle erupted in an instant. Lin Xian came to hell with a purpose. Therefore, he ignored it. Instead, he found a direction and flew into the distance. However, at this moment, the demonic qi on his body surged. The demonic shadow behind him came out again. Moreover, the demonic shadow automatically left behind Lin Xian and actually charged towards those monsters. It charged towards the Death God lamp. Chapter 5730. This sudden turn of events stunned Lin Xian. His brows knitted tightly together. Xin Jingqiu was right. He really couldn't continue cultivating the demon emperor's ancient scripture, because he realized that the demonic shadow behind him was getting out of his control. Previously, he was the only one attacking. Now he was out of his control and attacking the group of powerhouses. Lin Xian's expression changed. He ignored it and turned to leave. The new demonic shadow was extremely terrifying. He came to the center of the battle and punched out. The black demonic fist covered heaven and earth. Countless bones were smashed into pieces. Countless people were terrified. Some people shouted angrily, "Damn it, what was that? Who was it? Which force was it from?" They were all crazy. These three forces all had the backing of the great earth realm. Who was this new demonic shadow? They had never heard of a demonic expert reviving. Roar! Roar! The bone dragon roared at the sky. The bones on its body released an extremely terrifying cold aura. Its huge body swept in all directions and hit the demonic shadow. The demonic qi on the demonic shadow was tumbling nonstop. However, the demonic silhouette roared at the sky with deep emotions and disdain. There was a trace of Emperor's aura on his body. The demon god's fist became even more terrifying. It was like two divine hammers were sweeping around. The surrounding void shattered endlessly. Even the sky was collapsing. However, the ghost soldiers, vengeful spirits, and the green-furred monsters all rushed over and enveloped the demonic shadow. A great battle broke out in an instant. It was extremely terrifying. Where did this demonic shadow come from? Quickly go and investigate. The bone dragon's voice sounded. It was extremely cold. There were still some powerhouses around. Soon they found Lin Xian. There's an unknown guy who doesn't belong to us. Kill him. Those people rushed over. Hundreds of figures surrounded Lin Xian. Lin Xian frowned. Get lost. Look at the monstrous demonic aura on your body. Are you with that demonic shadow? A bone ape said coldly. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Get lost. He didn't want to be surrounded by endless powerhouses. He didn't want to be chased down as soon as he appeared, so he quickly attacked. He used the Qingkuan sword technique, which used everything in the world as a sword. He immediately attacked the hundreds of skeletal creatures. Those skeletal creatures roared. It's him. Attack! Kill! With an angry roar, they attacked as well. However, the Qingkuan sword technique was too terrifying. It directly pierced through the bodies of the skeletal creatures and nailed them in the void. Their bodies kept shattering. Lin Xian took advantage of this opportunity, and a pair of black, demonic wings appeared on his back. He turned into an aurora and disappeared. There were also some green-furred monsters chasing after them, and in the distance there were even ghost soldiers galloping on their war horses. However, Lin Xian was very fast, appearing and disappearing like a ghost. He didn't stop attacking, killing everything that got close to it. Gradually, it got rid of its pursuers. Lin Xian's figure flashed and disappeared into a pitch-black mountain range below. After landing, Lin Xian's face turned cold. It seemed that he had to create it as soon as possible. He couldn't use the Demon Emperor's ancient scripture for the heaven-defying art. Moreover, Lin Xian decided to find a way to completely cut off his connection with the demonic shadow. Lin Xian had a bad feeling that the demonic shadow was definitely related to the Demon Emperor. Heaven-defying art, Qin Kuan, sword technique. In addition, Lin Xian was preparing to create movement techniques, defense, recovery, healing, and many other unique skills. He fought along the way, and the great dragon's sword soul could evolve thousands of times. It wasn't impossible for Lin Xian to create his own Tao. Next, he went on the road again. There was no longer demonic aura behind him. Instead, countless sword lights condensed to form a pair of sword chi wings. As he waved them, sword lights danced in the sky at an extremely fast speed. Although it couldn't compare to the demon god's wings for the time being, it was still a skill that Lin Xian created himself. It was the most suitable for Lin Xian. It was also the most familiar to him. Therefore, he believed that one day he would be able to surpass the demon god's wings. In the next period of time, Lin Xian continued to travel and create heaven-defying techniques. In addition to sword feathers, Lin Xian's dragon scales flashed under his feet. He could also use the dragon step, which was also extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. In these 3 days, Lin Xian saw countless figures flying above the mountain range. They were obviously fighting for the Death God lamp. The Death God lamp carried an extremely terrifying aura of death and the aura of a great emperor. Obviously, it should be a treasure left behind by an incredible, great emperor. However, Lin Xian wasn't in the mood to fight for it. He had to find the 2 wordless heavenly monuments. He took out the token that Lin Xian gave him. Lin Xian's soul shrouded it and checked the situation inside. The 2 wordless heavenly monuments were extremely mysterious. In addition to the wordless heavenly monuments, there was also a mysterious aura. As long as Lin Xian saw it, he would be able to discover it immediately. Seeing this, Lin Xian used his Rinnegan and shrouded the entire area. The area within a radius of 1,000,000 miles was enveloped by him. However, he didn't discover it. This caused many people to roar in anger. "Who is it that dares to investigate me?" Angry shouts sounded one after another. Under the ground, a rotten palm stretched out. It was actually a death god. It was extremely terrifying and had reached the realm of the 8-crown king. There was an ancient coffin behind him that had long been torn apart by him. At this moment, he woke up and roared at the sky. There were also these skeleton-like creatures. They were furious. In short, this hell was too terrifying. It was much more terrifying than when Lin Xian came previously. Lin Xian searched as he hurried. 2 days later, Lin Xian stopped. He left 2 more clones in the sword world, allowing them to continue digging in the sword world. After all, Lin Xian had sensed the power of the universe ring before. He wanted to dig something out again. In the sword world, Little White was also there. He placed a green-skinned gourd into the pit that Lin Xian dug and covered it with soil. Then he said with conviction, "Yeah, the treasure has become stronger." Lin Xian found it funny and ignored this little guy. While his clones were working, Lin Xian's main body kept searching in hell. After searching for a few days, he still couldn't find the wordless steel. Lin Xian frowned. If he had known, he would have brought the Hellfire Dragon. It wasn't that Lin Xian didn't want to bring him, but after he saw Lin Zhan, he found that the Hellfire Dragon was long gone. He asked. The Crimson Dragon said that the guy left after leaving the tomb of the great Earth Emperor. He said that he wanted to see the magic of the celestial ground. Little White, look. Is there a treasure? Lin Xian grabbed the little guy from the sword world. Little White was dissatisfied, but not long after, he took out the treasure bowl and began to aim. Treasure, treasure, please show yourself. He kept flying in the air. At the next moment, he waved his little claws. There seemed to be something there. Lin Xian walked over and found that it was a swamp. It was eerie and terrifying. With a wave of his hand, a sword Qi split the swamp open. Inside, there was actually a rotten fruit. The fruit was very big as a table, but it was already covered with insects. It was pitch black and rotten. Little White immediately vomited after seeing it. It was too disgusting. He covered his eyes with his little claws. At the same time, outside a few mountains, two figures suddenly stood up. Their eyes were shining with a shocking light. What a terrifying, eerie aura. Could it be that a treasure had appeared? Chapter 5731. Grandpa, the aura over there is so terrifying. A woman soared into the air and looked ahead as she exclaimed in surprise. As she spoke, she flew forward. Behind her, the old man quickly followed. He said, Luo Luo, be careful. Usually, there are powerful monsters guarding the treasures. Don't worry, Grandpa, I'll be careful. Her name is Luo Luo, the girl said quickly. Her speed was very fast, like a fleeting shadow. Soon, she arrived at Changfang. However, in the next moment, she cried out in surprise. What's going on? The old man behind her was worried. Could it be that his granddaughter was in danger? Thinking of this, his speed was much faster than before. In an instant, he arrived in front. However, when he looked at the scene in front of him, he was stunned. He was also stunned. There was a swamp in front of him, and there was a peach the size of a table there. The peach was rotten and poisonous insects were crawling on it. On the other side of the swamp stood a young man. Sword Qi circled around his body. Beside him was a little white monkey. There's someone here, Grandpa. Luo Luo said cautiously. The old man also looked as if he was facing a great enemy. A young man dared to be here alone. He must have some tricks up his sleeve. He looked at the other party warily. Lin Xian ignored him. Instead, he reached out with a flaming palm and grabbed forward. The flaming palm was like the sun as it grabbed the rotten peach. The poisonous insects on it were all reduced to ashes. Lin Xian looked at it and frowned. What a terrifying aura. However, it doesn't seem to suit me. Roar. Suddenly, a deep roar sounded from under the swamp. Following that, a lizard flew out. A cold and gloomy aura was emanating from it. It was Seven Crown King. When she saw this scene, the girl opposite him, Luo Luo, also exclaimed, Be careful. The old man was even more surprised. He quickly used his law to form a shield in front of him. The terrifying lizard charged toward Lin Xian. Its claws carried an aura of death. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Get lost. He slapped the lizard away with his palm, which looked like a sun god of war. Then Lin Xian flicked his finger, and a stream of sword Qi transformed into a huge dragon, which directly pierced through the lizard. The lizard was pierced through. It frantically fled and drilled into the swamp. Lin Xian sneered. You want to leave? Another sword strike was unleashed, turning into a fiery dragon, covering the sky and covering the earth as it charged towards the swamp, tearing it apart. The lizard screamed. In the end, both his body and soul were destroyed. When they saw this scene, the grandfather and grandson opposite them were stunned. Was Seven Crown King killed so easily like this? This young man's methods were too terrifying. The other party was at least a Seven Crown King, or perhaps even more terrifying. Therefore, the two of them acted as if they were facing a great enemy. Lin Xian was very satisfied with this. Previously, he was only the 5-crown king, yet he was already able to contend against the 7-crown king. Now that his strength had increased to 6-crown kings, killing 7-crown kings was simply too easy. Now, even if he encountered 8-crown king, Lin Xian could fight with him or even defeat him. This was his current strength. Greetings, senior. At this moment, Luo Luo hurriedly bowed. Lin Xian said, I'm not some old monster. Don't call me senior. Greetings, young master. Luo Luo hurriedly corrected herself. The old man also cupped his fists and said, Young master, how should I address you? Lin Xian looked forward. He saw that the woman was a quasi-emperor, 5-crown king. As for the old man behind him, he had the cultivation of 7-crown king. He thought that it was probably because he had seen what he could do that caused him to be so terrified. He said, Don't worry, if you aren't my enemy, I won't attack you. Lin Xian was also surprised. The current hell was indeed different. When he came before, there definitely wouldn't be a quasi-emperor. But now, any random girl he saw was a quasi-emperor. From the looks of it, the infernal realm had undergone tremendous changes as well. As expected of a place with the 9 serenities, he wondered just how miraculous the 9 nether realm was. Lin Xian said, I'm from another universe, outside hell. I came here to train, but I got lost. Where is this place? Young master, you're from the outside world. Luo Luo was also surprised. She said, This is called the Dark Forest. We're from the Luo family in the Dark City next door. My name is Luo Luo, and this is my grandfather. Lin Xian nodded. Then he asked, Is the 18 levels of hell far from here? Have any great emperor-level figures revived in hell recently? Have other great enemies come? Luo Luo was stunned. The old man behind Elder Luo also said, The great emperor level is too far away for us. We've never seen them before. However, we know that there are currently 3 great emperors in hell. They are the Underworld Emperor, the Yellow Springs Emperor, and the Bone Emperor. Young master, when you come, you should see many strong masters fighting. They are the subordinates of these 3 great emperors. As for whether there are other great emperors coming, we don't know. Moreover, these 3 great emperors are said to be extremely mysterious. Very few people in hell have really seen them. 3 have already awakened. Lin Xian was surprised as well. This earthly hell was indeed extraordinary. He now knew that there was only one great emperor in each era. However, the universe has experienced too many years. These great emperors didn't die. Some were in a deep sleep. They all woke up in this era. That's why so many great emperors appeared in such a short time. It seemed that he had to find one of the lands and form an alliance with it. As for which one? Lin Xian wasn't sure yet. He didn't dare to act rashly, because the people on the other side might also find the great emperor here to form an alliance. After all, the other side was also in the process of being sealed. If he was looking for the same person as the others, then he would be a sheep in a tiger's mouth. So he had to investigate first. At this time, Luo Luo also said, Young master, you're from the outside, so you definitely don't know this place. Why don't you come back with me? The old man's expression also changed. To be honest, he didn't want to bring a stranger back. However, Lin Xian smiled and said, Okay, in that case, I won't stand on ceremony. He threw the rotten peach to the old man and said, This is a greeting gift. Really? Give it to me. Thank you. Luo Luo was very happy. The old man was also surprised. This peach, although rotten, was cold and sinister. However, the chilling aura of death it carried was the power that the people of hell desired the most. Even 7-crown king would be jealous if he saw such a thing. But was the other party like this? He gave it to them so easily. It was really surprising. Now, even if Elder Luo wanted to refuse the other party, he probably couldn't. Therefore, he could only say, "Young master, please." Lin Xian brought Xiao Bai with him, following the other party into the distance. Along the way, Luo Luo talked a lot about the dark forest and dark city. At the same time, she was very fond of Little White. What a cute little monkey. She also took out some hell spirit fruits and gave them to Little White. Little White ate happily. Luo Luo and the elder came out. Outside the dark forest, there was a team waiting there. These people had a dark aura on them. Chapter 5732. Greetings, Patriarch. The team quickly got down from their beasts and bowed, respectfully. At the same time, a man walked over. This man was wearing dark armor and had a powerful aura. He was handsome, and his eyes were as vast as the stars. He looked at Luo Luo from time to time. Elder Luo nodded. Then he smiled at Lin Xian and said, "Lin Gongzi, this is the elite of our family. This one is a genius among geniuses." His name was Luo Tianyu. "Tianyu, this is Lin Gongzi. He is an honored guest of our Luo family." Lin Gongzi, honored guest? Luo Tianyu was surprised. His deep eyes looked at Lin Xian. When he saw that Lin Xian was only a 6-crown king, his eyes were filled with disdain. Same level? He had never lost in a battle of the same level. What qualifications did such a person have to be an honored guest of their family? Of course, the patriarch was here, so he couldn't say anything. He could only nod slightly as a greeting. Lin Xian could naturally feel the hostility in the other party's eyes. Although it was hidden very well, it couldn't escape his Rinnegan. Looking at the other party's identity and 6-crown king cultivation, he should be an important figure of the Luo family. And the other party looked at Luo Luo with a trace of greed. It seemed that the other party was hostile to him. It was because of Luo Luo. Lin Xian didn't say anything. He was just a passerby here. His important mission was to find the wordless heavenly steel. He didn't know if the Luo family could give him some clues. "Lin Gongzi, please." Luo Lu smiled and led the way. The group of people got on the war beasts and rushed away. These were all powerful beasts with the aura of death. However, they posed no threat to Lin Xian. In fact, when Lin Xian climbed onto the battle beast's body started to tremble slightly. It was obvious that it couldn't withstand Lin Xian's strength. "Lin Gongzi." Luo Luo walked over again and walked side by side with Lin Xian. From time to time, she would introduce something to Lin Xian. That sweet smile melted the surrounding darkness. Upon seeing this sight, Luo Tianyu's face darkened and killing intent flickered in his eyes. Finally, the group arrived at the Luo clan. Outside the dark forest, there were many cities. Every city was a family. These clans were very powerful, and one of them was the Luo clan. Seeing that their clan leader had returned, the people of the Luo clan were very happy. They quickly opened the city gates to welcome them. When they found out that they had brought an honored guest with them, they were even more astonished. In the evening, the Luo family held a banquet to welcome Lin Xian. Lin Xian wanted to gather some information from the Luo clan and see what had happened in the Earth domain in recent years. Are there any clues? After 3 rounds of drinks, Luo Tianyu stood up again. Holding a bronze wine cup, he walked over and said, "Lin Gongzi, right? I heard that you're a peerless genius. I wonder how powerful you are. Would you like to spar with me?" Hearing this, Elder Luo's expression changed. He said, "Tianyu, you must be drunk. Lin Gongzi is our honored guest." Tianyu smiled and said, "I'm not drunk yet, clan leader. Since Lin Gongzi is a peerless genius, I naturally have to ask him for advice. Only the most powerful martial arts spar can help me break through again. Lin Gongzi, would you give me face and spar with me?" Hearing Luo Tianyu's offensive words, many people in the hall had different expressions. Some supported Luo Tianyu. The elder immediately smiled and said, "Yes, I heard that Lin Gongzi came from the outer universe. I wonder how powerful the geniuses outside of hell are. We've never seen them before. I want to broaden my horizons." Someone laughed and said, "Maybe he's not a genius. He just wants to come to the Luo clan to cheat us." Voices came one after another. Lin Xian put down his wine cup and said with a smile, "Oh, are you challenging me?" "Why, don't you dare?" Luo Tianyu took a step forward, and the law on his body erupted. It was the aura of hell, and it was extremely terrifying. The temperature in the main hall dropped. Even many of the elders sucked in a breath of cold air. Luo Tianyu was too extraordinary. He could already give them pressure now. It would probably take him a few years to become the second master of the Luo clan. Of course, he was only second, because the first master was even more terrifying. However, he was not in the clan. Seeing the scene, Lin Xian shook his head and sighed. "Forget it. For Elder Luo's sake, I won't do anything to you. Bow and apologize, and I can spare you this time." The surrounding elders were stunned. What does he mean? Spare Tianyu? Is he looking down on Luo Tianyu? Sure enough, Luo Tianyu's face darkened, and a fierce killing intent appeared in his eyes. "Spare me? You? Are you qualified? Boy, if you're a man, come out and fight me." Luo Tianyu's killing intent became even more terrifying. It formed a claw of hell suspended in the air, and it seemed like it would fall at any time. "Luo Tianyu, don't go too far." Luo said, "How can you attack Lin Gongzi?" Hearing this, Luo Tianyu was even more furious. Even Luo was protecting him. Die. With a furious roar, the demon claw in the sky instantly slammed down. The black claw carried an extremely strong aura of death, and it covered the sky and earth. "It's over. This kid is dead. Yes, under this claw. Even 6 Crown King of the same level would not be able to withstand it. If this kid didn't have the ability, he would probably end up very miserably." Countless exclamations sounded. Luo also exclaimed, wanting to ask for help. However, Luo was too late. The claw of hell arrived in front of Lin Xian. It slammed down fiercely. "Die." Luo Tianyu revealed a sinister smile. "Buzz." At this critical moment, Lin Xian waved his sleeve, and a sword aura flew out. It was like a supreme dragon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws. In an instant, it tore the claw of hell apart. Moreover, the dragon claw slammed down on Luo Tianyu's body. Luo Tianyu looked as if he had been struck by lightning. His huge body was covered in cracks. With a boom, it was torn apart. He had lost, and he was severely injured. He fell to the ground, screaming crazily. The sword aura dragon in the sky swooped down. No, Luo Tianyu's eyes were filled with despair. "Stop." The surrounding elders also shouted angrily. The Luo family patriarch stood up. He said, "Lin Gongzi, please have mercy." Lin Xian waved his hand, and the sword aura dragon disappeared into the void. He raised his wine cup and said, "I already said, don't challenge me, because you can't bear the consequences. You." Luo Tianyu was so angry that he vomited blood. His broken body healed with difficulty. However, there were still some cracks. It wasn't hard for him to imagine. He was scared out of his wits. The other party's strength was so terrifying. The elder's expressions changed drastically. He defeated Luo Tianyu in one move. This young man's strength was really too shocking. It was completely beyond their imagination. They didn't dare to take advantage of their seniority anymore. They all stood up, raised their wine cups, and walked in front of Lin Xian. "Lin Gongzi, I admire your strength. Let's toast to Lin Gongzi." Chapter 5733. Thank you, Lin Gongzi, for being merciful. Elder Luo bowed deeply as well. After all, Luo Tianyu was the second genius of their family. As for Luo Luo, she was even more impressed. This was a true peerless expert. The previous Luo Tianyu was too weak. She was not interested in him at all. This person might be able to compete with her brother. Her brother was the #1 master of the Luo family. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He had shocked these people with his small show of strength. It seemed that it would be easy for him to gather information. Sure enough, Lin Xian mentioned that he wanted to gather information about hell. Luo Luo agreed immediately and invited Lin Xian to stay at the Luo family for a few more days. Lin Xian was surrounded by everyone's attention. On the other hand, Luo Tianyu was defeated. He was helped down by the guards of the Luo family and returned to his villa to rest. Damn it! Luo Tianyu roared in anger. He had lost all his face today. Originally, he wanted to embarrass Luo Tianyu in front of Luo Luo. This way, Luo Tianyu would not be able to compete with him. But he did not expect that he would be the one to lose face. And he was defeated. He was unwilling to accept it. The next day, Luo Tianyu arrived at the main hall of the Luo family leader early in the morning and asked for an audience. Elder Luo said, "You're seriously injured. Why are you here instead of recuperating? Go back and recuperate. You can talk about it after you've recovered. Are you lacking any healing elixirs? Don't worry, I'll get someone to send it to you. I won't let you have any sequelae." Elder Luo took good care of Luo Tianyu. He even treated him as his grandson. He was thinking of going to Luo Tianyu's mansion after he was done with his business here. He wanted to see how Luo Tianyu's injuries were. Luo Tianyu said, "Thank you for your concern, Patriarch. I don't lack elixirs. I'm here today for something else." "What is it?" The Luo family leader was surprised. Luo Tianyu said, "I'm here to propose to Luo Luo." Elder Luo sighed. "Tianyu, you're the second genius of the family. I have high hopes for you. Your future is bright. Luo Luo is my granddaughter. I hope you can be together and strengthen the Luo family. However, feelings can't be forced. I can't make decisions for Luo Luo. But if Luo Luo, I have no opinion. But I don't." Luo Luo walked out from the side hall and said, "Tianyu, I'll make it clear to you. And I have always treated you as my brother. We can't be partners. Is it because of you, Luo Luo? Luo Tianyu roared madly. "You haven't looked at me since he came." Luo Luo frowned. "Brother Tianyu, you're thinking too much. This has nothing to do with young Master Lin." Luo Luo also said, "Tianyu, don't think too much. Rest well first." Elder Luo ordered the guards to escort Luo Tianyu back to his residence. And then he sighed. "Damn it, old man. Since you don't want to give Luo Luo to me, don't blame me for being rude." Luo Tianyu returned to his mansion. His eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. No matter what, he had to get Luo Luo. No matter who stood in his way, he would kill anyone who stood in his way. Since that old man didn't know what was good for him, he had to use his own method. When he thought of this, his eyes turned red. Then, with a sway of his body, he quietly left the mansion. He flew all the way to another city. This city was even scarier. The dark netherworld stone emitted a terrifying light. Around the city, the water of the yellow spring surged. White bones could be seen in it. It was terrifying. "Who are you?" Two white skeletons appeared in the water of the yellow spring and shouted coldly. "I have important news to report to the Yellow Spring sect. It's about Oxhead and Horseface." Hearing this, the two skeletons were stunned. "Who are you?" "Luo Tianyu of the Luo family. Come in." At this moment, a loud voice sounded in the dark city. The two guards respectfully pushed the door open. In front of them, the gate of the dark city opened. Luo Tianyu's figure flashed and walked in. About half a day later, Luo Tianyu came out. There was a cold smile on his face. Old man, this is what you get for not choosing me. He returned to the Luo family and pretended that nothing had happened. However, 2 days later, the guards of the Luo family returned in horror. Patriarch, something bad has happened. The Dark Army is here. The alarm sounded throughout the city of the Luo family. In the city, countless disciples and elders of the Luo family were awakened. They rose into the air. What happened? Suddenly, the sky darkened, the earth trembled, and endless cracks spread. A terrifying pressure enveloped the city as if dark clouds were pressing down on the city. Someone was attacking. Moreover, it was a powerhouse. An endless number of powerhouses. The elders of the Luo family looked into the distance. They gasped, and many of their scalps went numb. Outside the Luo family, there were 3 streams of yellow spring surging in the sky. Each stream was hundreds of thousands of meters long and swept across the world. In the water of the yellow spring, there was an endless dark army roaring ferociously. It made one scalp go numb. The 3 streams of yellow spring covered the entire Luo family. There was an army of 100,000 dark soldiers. An elder of the Luo family trembled in fear. These are people from the Dark Hall of the Yellow Spring sect. How is that possible? The other young disciples all went crazy. We've never offended the Yellow Spring sect. The Yellow Spring sect was extremely terrifying. It was a behemoth near the dark forest. The Luo family was also terrifying. However, compared to the Yellow Spring sect, it was not worth mentioning, because the Yellow Spring sect was a subordinate sect of the Yellow Spring Great Emperor. Its background was simply shocking. No matter how powerful the Luo family was, would they dare to fight against the sect of a great emperor? It was impossible, although the Dark Hall was only one of the halls of the Yellow Spring sect. It was not something they could provoke. Luo hurriedly gathered the elders. They flew up and arrived at the city wall. Looking at the army of darkness that covered the sky and the earth outside, they moved quickly. At the same time, they said, "How did the Luo family offend the Yellow Spring sect? Please tell us, the masters of the Dark Hall. The Luo family will make amends." Luo and the others were also pale. Lin Xian was there as well. He narrowed his eyes as he looked at the 100,000 experts that covered the sky. He felt that these people did not come with good intentions. Luo Tianyu looked at this scene. He sneered. With a sway of his body, he rushed to the top of the city wall. Later, he was an important witness. The yellow spring water spread around. A figure appeared in each yellow spring water. They were the 3 core elders of the Dark Hall of the Yellow Spring sect. They led 100,000 dark army. They came to attack the Luo family. Among them, the elder on the right had cold eyes and a zombie-like body. He said coldly, "Luo Donglai, how dare you? Does the Luo family one die?" Now, everyone in the Luo family knelt down, hand over the ox head. Chapter 5734. What was a bull's head? Lin Xian was taken aback. Luo's pupils constricted. How did he know about it? Her family did have a bull's head. To be exact, it was just a statue of a bull's head. She didn't know if it was a real bull's head, but it was definitely related, and it was an important clue. Only Luo Donglai, the patriarch, and a few elders knew about it. They didn't spread the news. They were waiting for the first genius of the Luo family to come back. Then they would discuss what to do. Luo Donglai had sent a message asking the first genius to come back. But how did the news get out? He looked around. The elders shook their heads and said, "We didn't betray the family." The patriarch took a deep breath. He cupped his fists and said, "I think you've misunderstood." "Who is it?" "Someone is framing the Luo family." "How could we have news about the bull's head? Even if we did, we would have given it to the Yellow Spring sect." "Really?" The zombie-like elder snorted. "Luo Donglai, you're so used to pretending. We were almost fooled by you. But this time, it was the Luo family who told the truth. So it's true. What? The patriarch's pupils constricted. He raised his head abruptly and looked at the elders around him. His expression changed drastically. Patriarch, we didn't say anything. But then Luo Tianyu's body swayed. He flew over the city wall to the edge of the yellow spring and said, I said it. What? You? Luo Donglai was stunned. He didn't expect it to be Luo Tianyu. The second genius of his family had hurt him badly. Luo's eyes turned red. Luo Tianyu, you ungrateful bastard. How did the family treat you? How did you treat me? I proposed to you 3 times, but you rejected me. How did you treat me? Luo Tianyu roared. Despicable. Luo cried. The expressions of the other elders also turned incomparably ugly. The proposal was Luo's own business. The family had never mistreated Luo Tianyu. Luo Tianyu was the second genius of the family. They had trained him with all their might. But he had betrayed the family. Damn it, if I knew you were this kind of thing, I would have slapped you to death. Angry voices could be heard one after another. Luo Tianyu sneered. Humph, don't worry, I'll remember your words. When I become the clan leader of the Luo clan, I will teach you a lesson. What? You want to be the patriarch? The people of the Luo family went crazy. Luo Tianyu arrived before the Darkness Hall's elder. He said, Elder, I can testify that the Luo family did receive a cow head statue. Luo Donglai was going to give the statue to an outsider. It was that kid. He intended to collude with people outside of hell. Luo Tianyu pointed to a figure in the crowd. That's right, it was Lin Xian. This time around, he was determined not only to obtain the position of the Luo clan's clan chief, but also to obtain the position of the Luo clan's clan chief. He wanted to borrow the Yellow Spring sect's hand to kill Lin Xian. Countless people exclaimed. However, Lin Xian's expression darkened. Were they coming for him? This Luo Tianyu really deserved to die. It's you. The terrifying gaze in the sky fell and enveloped Lin Xian. Oh no, Lin Gongzi, you have to leave now. Luo and the others exclaimed. The Luo clan leader also sighed. Lin Gongzi, we've dragged you into this. If you have the chance, you should leave now. However, Lin Xian shook his head. He swayed his body and came to the city wall, saying, Clan leader Luo, you've taken good care of me. How can I leave you now? Tell me, what is a cow head? The people of the Luo family were going crazy. How could this kid be in the mood to talk about a cow head? Luo Tianyu laughed. Kid, you really don't know what's good for you. Let me tell you, there are 2 legendary powerhouses in hell, the cow head and the horse face. However, they were already powerhouses in the primordial age and have long disappeared. However, legend has it that they left behind 2 things that contain the supreme secrets of hell. The Luo family had obtained a cow head statue. It was very likely that it was a secret left behind by the primordial age powerhouse, the cow head. The Luo family wanted to monopolize it. Hearing this, Lin Xian was also stunned. The cow head and the horse face were indeed legendary, peerless masters in hell. But what was the secret? Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. Could it have nothing to do with the wordless heavenly steel? The wordless heavenly steel was also extremely mysterious and had something to do with the 9th serenity. Perhaps there was some connection between the 2? The Luo clan leader next to him also sighed. Lin Gongzi, if you have the chance, run away. The Yellow Spring sect was backed by the Yellow Spring Emperor, and the cow head and the horse face were the things that the Yellow Spring Emperor was looking for. This time, the Luo family has no hope. I hope you can take Luo away when you run away later. He knew that Lin Xian was powerful and might be able to take his granddaughter away. No, Grandpa, I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay with you. Luo cried. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He said, It's just a 100,000 dark army. It's no big deal. If he attacks, just kill him. What? The surrounding people went crazy. Does this kid know the strength of the Dark Hall? It's a subordinate of the Yellow Spring sect. It's a terrifying hall. The people of the Dark Hall of the Yellow Spring sect laughed. Someone dared to kill them? Luo Tianyu sneered. Idiot! Do you think you can compete with the Yellow Spring sect after defeating me? Ignorant thing. I'll let you know what it means to live a life worse than death. In the sky, the 3 elders of the Yellow Spring sect rose into the air. They exuded a powerful aura. With a wave of their hands, 3 streams of Yellow Spring water gushed out and fell mercilessly. Cracks appeared on the Luo family city, and the array was broken. Many people vomited mouthfuls of blood and retreated. The Luo clan leader took a deep breath and said, Everyone get ready to fight to the death. At the same time, send the young talents out. Hearing this, the elders of the Luo family all took a deep breath, and they gathered Luo and the others together. They were ready to send them away. Lin Xian said, Clan leader Luo, I have a way to keep the Luo family safe. What is it? The Luo clan leader was stunned. Lin Xian said their targets are 2. The first is the Minotaur statue. The second is me. If you give the Minotaur statue to me, then their target will only be me. What happens next has nothing to do with the Luo family. But can you bear to keep the Minotaur statue a secret? It's up to you. Young master, that's the Yellow Spring sect. Luo had thought of this method. But in this way, Lin Xian would definitely die. Lin Xian smiled. So what if it's the Yellow Spring sect? It's not like the Yellow Spring. Great Emperor came in person. These trash around can't hurt me. What did you say? The 3 elders shouted angrily. In the water of the Yellow Spring, the 100,000 Dark Hall soldiers also roared crazily. Someone dared to call them trash. Unforgivable. Lin Xian ignored them. He stared at the Luo clan leader and said, Clan leader Luo, you only have 1 chance. Have you thought it through? Chapter 5735. Lin Xian said, You don't have to worry about my life because if I dare to take it, I have a way to protect myself. But now, I'm very curious whether you're willing to take it out or not. Of course, I won't force you. It's all up to you. If you take this bull's head, your life will be in danger. However, if you're very confident, why would I be reluctant? Patriarch Luo took a deep breath. With a wave of his hand, he took out a storage ring and threw it to Lin Xian. The thing is inside. After Lin Xian took it, he felt the aura inside. His eye technique instantly pierced through the storage ring and saw the space inside. Sure enough, there was a bull's head statue. It was pitch black, mysterious, and terrifying, with a trace of strange power. He nodded, put away the ring, and said, Okay, I'll protect your Luo family. After speaking, Lin Xian turned around. He looked at the 100,000 dark army around him. With a wave of his hand, a black bull's head statue appeared in his hand. Did you see that? The thing is with me now. From now on, the thing you're looking for is in my hands. It has nothing to do with the Luo family. If there's anything, come at me. Lin Xian rose into the air. His voice spread in all directions. Below, the people of the Luo family were shocked. The other party was really going to go against the Yellow Spring sect. Moreover, was he going to fight against the 100,000 dark army alone? Young master, Luo's eyes were also red. She asked Grandpa, Will he be in danger? The patriarch of the Luo family said, Now we can only pin our hopes on him. Kill him. The zombie elder roared angrily. Dozens of dark figures around him rushed over in an instant. Lin Xian sneered. With a wave of his sleeve, sword energy danced. It pierced through these dozens of people. He said coldly, A bunch of ants don't come. You 3 old things come together. You're courting death. The zombie elder was also angry. He personally made a move. His withered palm stretched out, carrying with it an extremely terrifying power. It covered the sky and earth like a cage, enveloping Lin Xian. Wait for death. Luo Tianyu sneered. The zombie elder had personally taken action. He wanted to see how the other party would die. Lin Xian sneered and threw out a punch. His fist carried the power of extreme yang, but before it could even get close, it was already too late. The aura of death on the zombie elder's body. It began to melt. Damn it, the power of restraint. The elder's eyes narrowed, and he wanted to retreat. But it was too late. This punch sent him flying. His body turned into a mist of blood as he retreated. He had killed 7 Crown King with a single punch. Lin Xian sneered. 7 Crown King, you dare to be arrogant in front of me? You don't know what's good for you. Everyone was shocked, dumbstruck. The Luo clan was silent. The people of the Yellow Spring sect sucked in a breath of cold air. The 100,000-strong army of darkness was also stunned. One of their elders was sent flying by a single punch just like that. One had to know that the zombie elder was no ordinary 7 Crown King. That was extremely terrifying, already close to 8 Crown Kings. But even so, he was still killed in an instant. Damn it, you dare to kill him? Our Yellow Spring sect will never forgive you. The other 2 powerhouses roared crazily. Luo Tianyu also retreated, because he realized that Lin Xian's gaze was already fixed on him. Lin Xian said, I hate traitors the most. How dare you betray me? There's no need for you to live. After saying that, he slashed out again. The biting cold sword light carried the power of killing. Luo Tianyu shouted angrily, get lost. He punched out with both fists, carrying a terrifying aura. It was as if the world of hell had been turned upside down. The terrifying power was shocking, as expected of the second genius of the Luo clan. However, under Lin Xian's sword, a few cracks appeared in the other party's hell world. That power was suppressed. Under the sword, Luo Tianyu was split in half. With another sword, Luo Tianyu's head flew up. His soul was also cut in half. Impossible. In the end, he died in fear. The second genius couldn't even block 2 sword strikes from the other party? How terrifying was this person? Damn it, let's attack together. The remaining 2 elders of the Dark Association roared angrily. They realized that the other party was much stronger than they had imagined. No wonder he dared to go against them. With a roar, the 2 elders charged over. The surrounding 100,000 Dark Association troops attacked together. When they joined forces, it was extremely terrifying. In the sky, they formed a black sword of death. It was formed by 100,000 people, and it carried boundless power as it slashed down. At the same time, the 2 elders of 7 Crown King appeared and disappeared mysteriously, ruthlessly attacking. Not good. Below, Luo Luo exclaimed again. The Luo clan leader also said, Lin Gongzi, retreat quickly. Lin Xian's strength shocked them. However, the 100,000 Dark Association troops were too strong. They cultivated the same laws. At this moment, coupled with this sword of death, they were probably comparable to 8 Crown King. Lin Xian stood on the city wall like this. He looked up at the sky with a calm expression. At this moment, an indomitable aura appeared in his eyes. The heaven-defying art. This fist shall be called the heaven-defying fist. Lin Xian's fist swung out. This was a fist technique that he had created himself. It had to go against the heavens and be fearless of everything. A fist flew out. That was an unyielding fighting spirit. That was a ferocious roar. The sword of death was actually sent flying. Everyone was shocked. The 100,000 Dark Association troops couldn't do anything to the other party. Indeed, at this moment, the 2 elders of the Dark Association had already arrived behind the other party. One of the palms approached. and the shadow of death slapped fiercely on Lin Xian's body. The other shot out a terrifying chain that was like a poisonous snake enveloping Lin Xian's body. The two of them cooperated perfectly. In despair, turned into white bones. The two of them laughed sinisterly. The mark of death with a terrifying aura slapped fiercely on Lin Xian's body. The laws danced, and the surroundings were filled with cracks. Lin Xian turned his head. He said coldly, "Is this your strongest power? You can't even break my defense." "You." The Elder of Death was so scared that he took 3 steps back. His face was full of horror. His strongest technique couldn't break the other party's defense. What kind of physique was this? The other elder of the Dark Association was also stunned. Lin Xian punched out, heaven-defying fist. The unyielding power directly turned the elder into a bloody mist. In the next moment, Lin Xian looked at the last person. Demon, the last elder of the Dark Association, turned around and fled. It wasn't that he had never seen an expert before. The Yellow Spring sect had a great emperor. It was just that he didn't expect that there would be such an expert in such a remote place. He was careless. Run. He turned into a stream of light. His speed was extremely fast. In an instant, he hid in the Yellow Spring. "Can you escape?" Lin Xian sneered. The Rinnegan bloomed and locked onto the other party. 6 paths of reincarnation. Soul extermination. A cold voice sounded. The smile on the Dark Association elder's face froze. Along with his soul, in an instant, he was torn into pieces by a powerful force. His body fell from the water of the Yellow Spring. It landed on the ground below. A deep pit was created. In the blink of an eye, 3 elders of the Yellow Spring sect had fallen. The traitor Luo Tianyu had fallen. Everyone was shocked. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.